All right, we're here. We're live. It's our February Q&A. It's been a little while since we've done one of these. Why? I guess, just really, really busy. If you watch our channel, watch our socials, you obviously know that we've done, well, a lot in the last few months. I was in America, September. I was there in October, November, and back in December. We've been to Japan already this year. So we've been up to a lot. But our Q&A is basically designed to fill you guys in on what we're up to, what we're doing, and let you guys ask questions. So you can ask questions about technical advice on RBs. You can ask about our project cars, what we're up to, what you're expecting. But some of the topics for tonight are probably expected after yesterday's video to talk a little bit more about Cootamundra and what's going to happen in the future with that. We're going to talk about what's happening with project cars, what's happening with GTR Festival, any other events, where we're going to be, all those sorts of things. So while we're waiting for more and more people to get on, I'll probably just get started with a project car update. The first one we get asked about all the time is Project No Secrets, and it's still the same answer as last time. Insufficient funds. And even if we did, insufficient time. That car is, I want to finish it, and I have a vision in my head now of what I want it to be like. But the reality is it's a shell that's waiting for interior and running gear. And the running gear and the gearbox are probably the two most important things and the biggest decision of all. One option is the engine out of our 32 goes into that car. However, that requires a freshen up and some other things. But that plan kind of has changed a little bit. So I'll take a sidestep over to talk about the 32 first. So we haven't announced this yet, and there is a video coming with more information. But the R32 GTR in the US, basically what happened with that car is the block has just deteriorated over time. It's distorted, and essentially the block's cactus. The rotating assembly, everything was fine. We managed to do a practice drag run an 8 on the Thursday. We did some roll racing passes, but after investigation in the Clearview filter and a few other things, even though the data said that the car was fine, had full oil pressure at full noise, there's no noises, no rod knock, no nothing. It's just, it must have distorted the block. And we have some main bearing where we're not happy with. So we pulled the pin rather than grenade the car in front of everyone. Pull that out, check it. And I've just basically said, fuck it, billet block time, let's go. And Con's attitude was, told you we should have done it ages ago. So we are currently preparing a billet block for our R32 GTR. Has a Nitto 3.4 litre stroker kit to go in the bullet block. Yes, the bullet block is the option. Now, everyone's going to say, why not a PRP block? Well, two reasons. One, they're not ready yet. And two, they're an RB26. Our whole car is built around an RB30. So that we can't even use the PRP block for that reason. Anyway, we want to race at TX2K in a few weeks. And the only way we can do that is to put an RB30 back in. So we're putting a billet RB30 with a Nitto 3.4 stroker and an 89.5mm bore to bring it out to 3.6 litres. It'll run the same head, turbo, everything as before, so you can see a back-to-back of what adding that sort of capacity does. The goal isn't extreme more power. The goal is better drivability, better reliability, which is always the goal with that car. So the plan was to pull that engine out and put it in the gold car. But now that the block's cactus, that plan has changed a little bit. And we may need to swap that head onto the new engine as well. So at the moment, it's like, let's just get the 32 going first, right? So what's after the 32 is the Group A car. We have all the parts we need for that car to build it. I'd like to build that in time for GTR Festival. After that, we need to get Jet 200 ready for World Time Attack. So you can see that those three cars are in the queue. And then essentially after World Time Attack, I could be overseas for the rest of the year, which could push the gold car back. But at least I'll know where I'm at. And there's still the R35. I've now managed to acquire a block and head and some other stuff. So I've got to get into that. Maybe while I'm in Texas, I'll start acquiring what I need, talking to sponsors and partners about what parts to use and things like that. So essentially, the problem is the gold car just kind of keeps getting pushed back in the queue because of, I guess, priorities change and also just purely money. We don't have enough. Our channel doesn't have 1 million subscribers. There's just not enough funds there. Like if we had 1 million subscribers and a bunch of views and we had a little bit more to boost it, we would. But the funds just purely aren't there. We will get to it. And I do want to build it. And I have a vision of that car now that's probably altered from its original plan. The gold car is going to be what I call, I don't know. Time in Japan has made me go, sometimes a T51R and a Greddy inlet and just a cool looking engine bay that sounds rad with a full interior, something you can drive every day if you wanted to, drive to events, hang out at car shows, etc. maybe that's what that car just needs to be. It just needs to be freaking cool. It doesn't have to be a circuit car. We have our Group A car. It doesn't have to be a drag thing because we have our R32. So I think the gold car is going to be the one that I can just enjoy and cruise in and things like that. I've even got plans for other GTR builds. We are currently in the building 2 GTRs for other YouTubers. I'm not going to say who they are yet because they're going to be a great surprise. One of them is 100%. The other one's being sorted, and you will see them unveiled at GTR Festival. So we're currently trying to build our Group A car, 2 YouTubers' cars to unveil at GTR Festival. Andrew Hannison's going to unveil one as well. CID have a car to unveil. So GTR Festival in Australia is looking pretty cool when it comes to that. So yeah, Project No Secrets on hold. I have a T51R SPL that I want to put on it, in case you're wondering. With the setup, I've just always wanted it. So like, picture a GTR that is like, looks like it's from the year 2000, but modern Haltech ECU, T51R on it, Greddy inlet, and but probably like it'll be a 3.2 stroker. So what gearbox? I don't want a sequential in it. I either want to have some type of new 6-speed synchro that may or may not be being developed at the moment by someone, or maybe even 8 HP. Maybe the ZF will, like, yeah. I don't want a DCT in it, but potentially that. I've driven some of those cars now with the 8 HP. Maybe not in a GTR. I want to try that, but I think that is where that's going. So project car wise, that's where we're at. For those who just joined us, No Secrets on hold. 32 is getting a billet 3.6 being built right now to send to TX2K to race at TX2K. The Group A car has all the parts. We're going to build that. 35, I've finally got an engine and stuff, so I'm going to get that sorted. And Jet 200 is getting a billet block. Matt from Red Sun's going to rebuild that engine, billet block, so we can jam 45 pound in that thing. We'll probably upgrade the turbo slightly with a bigger Garrett. And speaking of Garrett, an announcement that's going to be coming out very soon is we're going to be doing a lot more with them this year. And also we're officially going to be ambassadors for Haltech and be doing more tech stuff with them as well. So there's a lot going on with all that. But I think probably the big thing we want to talk about first is Cootamundra. If you saw the video yesterday, you see that we have said goodbye to Cootamundra Airport. Now, there's some things I can go into. There's some things I can't. I will say this. I kind of knew that things were getting a little bit too fast for Cootamundra, and I knew that was looming, that eventually someone was just going to say, we can't ensure a runway the same we can as a drag strip, therefore we may have to cap the speeds. But there was other regulation changes to Cootamundra to do with where the cars could pit, how many cars you could have, how many pit crew, etc. And it's just rules and regulations. I'm not upset or angry about that, I guess. Like, people are commenting on the council ruining things. You don't need to attack the council on this one. I knew some of it was coming. We are now, after that video, in discussions again about being able to do private film shoots there for like something like a this versus that again, or private stuff with the cars. So believe it or not, sometimes when you make a video on the internet and stay positive about it and try and get other people to support what you're doing, it can actually work. So we are in talks with the council right now, or some council members, about trying to rectify some of this situation so that we will never have drag battle and GTR challenge the way it was there. That's just not going to happen. And I'll be honest with you, don't blame the council for that one. It's the cars are just too fast. It's wild. I'll talk about that. And one plan is to potentially move that event to Heathcote. Now, what you need to understand about motorsport events is this. If you privately insure the event versus using a sanctioning body, 2 very different things happen. And this is just filling you guys on how things work. If you run an event at a drag strip and you have IHRA or ANDRA, or at the track you have Motorsport Australia, AASA, races, etc., you have essentially you have an official sanctioning body that sits between you as the event promoter and any type of legal claim that happens. Their job is to make sure that their rules are followed and their procedures, their waivers, etc., are all in place, so that if someone dies, which is the worst case scenario, their job is to protect you legally. So, for example, if someone died at Cootamundra at the moment and it's privately insured, I can tell you what happens. I'll get charged for manslaughter instantly, and I'll go to court and I've got to fight it. That's just the procedure. No matter what the waiver is, no matter what, if someone dies, that's what happens. So an investigation then happens. You go to court and you got to fight it. The legal advice that I've had, based on how fast the cars are and the history of what has happened there and what rules exist at the drag strip, the knowledge that I have, I also run events at a drag strip, means I can't play dumb. If someone gets hurt and the car's too fast, potentially I'm liable. And the possibility is, well, I could be charged. or deemed negligent. And I know some of you think that's ridiculous. They chose to drive, all that sort of stuff. But I've experienced other event promoters go through this, had conversations, and essentially that's why the insurance side of it was just getting too hard. That is not the council's fault in any way whatsoever. That is just the reality of trying to hire a facility and let cars go down it. You have a choice: privately insure it and take all of the risk yourself, or B, get a sanctioning body to do it. Sanctioning body will not insure Cootamundra the way it is. It's just they can't legally do it. So I'm stuck in this position where it's like, can I take that risk? And my insurers and lawyer at the moment are just like, no, you can't. It's too much now. So the cars were getting too fast, but the rules and regulation change at the council is a separate topic. And yeah, that was basically meant that the event wouldn't be able to run the way that we used to either. But there is some talks at the moment to try and sort some things out so we can potentially have a runway thrash, maybe. My fingers are crossed. I'm trying to make that happen. And then also be able to do things like this versus at Australia. So will Drag Battle and GTR Challenge continue? I want to, but they'll probably move to Heathcote. I've already had conversations with Lance. Nothing is official yet. I've just asked the question, can we do it? And the answer is yes. I've started talking to potential competitors, workshops, etc. Are you interested? Yes, it's a different vibe, but it's at a drag strip and it's safer, the end. So that's what's happening at the moment. As of right now, we don't have any events for Cootamundra. That may change. We may get a runway thrash with a speed cap on it, and a number cap. And the plan is to look at GTR Challenge and Drag Battle moving to Heathcote. GTR Festival, separate event, is staying at Sydney Dragway as per normal. So next topic, GTR Festival. We obviously have our Australian event and our American event. Both will happen again this year. Both are going to be bigger, better, crazier, more guests, more cars, more everything. So our goal is to always run a bigger and better car festival, not just for GTR enthusiasts, for any Nissan enthusiast, any car enthusiast to enjoy the event. So that is still going to happen. We are working on other overseas events. Some of them I can't talk about. You can guess. And we are very close to finalizing a deal where the New Zealand GTR Festival, which already exists, will become under our umbrella, with Azar and I joining up to work on the event together. That is in the final stages of being, I guess, just like the small details. In theory, it's happening. It's just a few small details to figure out how that works together as a business. It's nothing personal. It's just purely how are we going to do this together? And the goal is to make GTR Festival New Zealand bigger and better. I'll be bringing international guests, bringing a car from Australia, et cetera, et cetera. I'm looking at bringing a car from New Zealand over to our event as well. So there's a lot happening there. So what other countries are we working on? I don't know. You guess all you like, but I'm working on more than one. So we could see 1, 2, or 3 events added in 2026, potentially 20. I don't know. Wherever, if there's a market and people want it and it can bring the GTR scene together and works for everybody, it needs to work for everyone. It has to not obviously lose money, but it also has to help local workshops, help the economy. It has to help the GTR scene. It has to bring people together to create memories that are worth it, right? Like that's what I care about. I care about creating memories for people, having a good time, helping the GTR scene, and just making it better. If it does all of those things and it can do that in a country and support it, I'll do it. If that means we do 20 of them, whatever. But as of right now, we have Australia locked in 23rd, 24th of May. GTR Festival in the US is the 14th to the 16th of November at Texas Motorplex. And New Zealand is the 7th of June. And like I said, final, I wanted to tell you guys, I might as well. Very close to the official announcement. Hopefully it'll be by next week. So USA, before we get to like online announcements, you guys are obviously pretty loyal followers of what we do. I'd rather tell you guys exactly what's happening and what's going on. Hiroshi Tamura will be returning as our special guest. He's also working with us globally. So he has become a very important part of GTR Festival and a good friend. I never thought I'd, be taking phone calls and ringing Hiroshi Tamura. And if you saw the photo that I had in Japan at Tokyo Wrestling with them, that was pretty cool. He's coming. Tommy Effier is going to be here. Garage S0, along with, if you've met Andrew, who has the 400R and the 0R, fanatic for GTRs as well. He's a business partner with Tommy for Garage S0. So yeah, Tommy's going to be coming to GTR Festival Australia. He'll be one of our guest judges. And finally, all you guys that want to show Tommy what GTRs are all about here, he's going to get to see it. It's going to be pretty cool. He's coming here. We're in discussions with Sakamoto to bring a car. We're trying to finalize that at the moment. I'm not going to say it's happening or not happening. I'm just going to say that we are working on that right now. There's a couple of cars in the US we're trying to bring. We're in discussions with Street Alpha Podcast, and we're going to be building a podcast room at the event. And basically what that is just basically a room that's set up for a podcast, but has windows so you guys can watch the podcast you can't hear it because obviously we want you to watch it later. So local podcasters will be able to book and use that room at the event. Street Alpha Podcast, we're working on having them come over to work on that. And I did mention earlier, we're currently building 2 GTRs. Well, one definite, one we're working on for other YouTubers. I'm not going to say who they are, but millions of subscribers. Those 2 cars being built, in theory, will be unveiled at GTR Festival. So that I'm keeping under wraps for a little while. Guess all you like, but it's going to be freaking cool. I will say that. What else is going to happen at the event? Well, all the usual. Roll racing on Friday, except we have changed things. So anyone that complained about roll racing last year, we listened. Some things didn't go to plan, etc. So roll racing Texas style. Some things are going to change. Some things stay the same. The run-up's going to be slightly shorter because everyone was going too fast. But instead of going on a light, you're actually going to go at the start line, which means the left lane has to be in with a speed window. If they're over or under it, they're instantly disqualified. If the car doesn't stay next to them, that's their own fault. But if they slingshot, disqualified. But you don't go at the light, you go at the start line. So you can get up to speed, stay at that speed. And when you get to that start line point, you go. If you go before it, instantly disqualified. So we're trying to clean up that style of roll racing with less drama. What else are we changing? Well, there's not going to be a practice day on the Friday as well as roll racing setup. The test and tune for GTR Festival, which you can buy an entry for, is on the Thursday. Friday will just be roll racing on the track. So we will have scrutineering from 8 a.m. You'll be able to race and practice and qualify from 12 o'clock until I think it's 5:30. We're going to have a quick dinner break. We're not going to have 10 categories. It's just going to be Elite 16 and then the rest. The rest do a traditional style elimination, and the quick 16 will be qualified by mile per hour. As of right now, it is still IHRA, but we are working on a different sanctioning body which will allow some faster cars, i.e. do the math of what other people use for roll racing, because currently the dragway no longer has exclusivity on IHRA. I haven't got a problem with IHRA. I will be using them for the drag racing and have worked with them, and I'm even a steward. However, if you want to run a roll racing event, some of those rules just aren't going to fly. So there is talks right now to have roll racing with different sanctioning, which will allow passengers and which will allow faster speeds. Mile an hour will get shown on the board, and you get 400 meters of roll racing with a prep track, which means 2-wheel drives can hook up, and we can have some proper roll racing. And also, eliminations will start earlier. So instead of starting eliminations at like 9 o'clock, the drag strip gets dewy at night and gets, kind of goes backwards. So like I said, practice and qualifying will be from 12 o'clock until about 5:36. Then we'll have a half an hour dinner break. Then we're going to have the eliminations. You're going to have Elite 16 as well as everyone else, and 16 bikes. And then we're going to finish that with a Burnouts versus Drifters exhibition. Yep. This is the first time anyone's heard about this. We're going to have drift cars and burnout cars go head-to-head on the burnout pad. You vote for who's the best, and we get either burnouts or drifters. Who are the best entertainers? And we'll finish it off with fireworks. We're going to have kids rides and food trucks and everything. So the whole idea is family night out, because it doesn't open to the public until 4 o'clock. VIPs get in at 1 o'clock. So the whole idea is come after work Friday and have a mad night out. And then GTR Festival on Saturday, the usual combination of drag racing, Motorcana, drift demos, drift rides, huge Traders Alley again. We'll sell out Traders Alley again. We've got cars to unveil, elite show and shine, collector cars. I said before, we're going to have the podcast room that you can watch live podcasts. We're going to have special guests, autograph sessions. You can buy VIP tickets. Obviously, plenty of mental GTRs going to be there. Power Tune are going to bring the dyno for a dyno competition again. The record's over 2,200 horsepower right now. Will someone beat it? It's possible. So like a lot's going on. We've got Pro Mod GTRs coming, Georgia Jeffsky, June 2, the Don, etc. So yeah, just the whole goal is to do exactly what we did last year and just make it better. Like the formula's there. So that's what's going with GTR Festival in Australia. New Zealand, Tamura's going, Tommy FE is going, and we're trying to bring a car from Australia that I'm in the middle of sorting right now. I'll announce that once it's official. And we're also working on bringing a New Zealand car over to Australia for our event. We're in talks with Sakamoto and some US cars, try and finalize that hopefully next week. So I can't tell you everything in concrete yet, but there's a lot going on. And like I said, I will be traveling to other countries this year to research where we go to next. I guess one big thing I've learned doing all this is I used to have the attitude of, I'm not going to travel anywhere unless someone pays for video content. Well, guess what? It doesn't always happen. So now the attitude is let's go research these other countries. And that's what's led to our GTR World Tour. You may have noticed the graphics for all that. So this year we're doing a GTR World Tour. That's presented by PRP, Howtech, and Garrett. And the whole idea of this concept is we visit different countries and check out the GTR scene. So I'm going to be probably going to go to, obviously England, Europe. I've already been to Japan, going to go again. I'm contemplating like island hopping the Bahamas and going to Trinidad, the Bahamas and Jamaica and all that. There is GTRs there, believe it or not. It's mad. Germany and a few other places. So exactly where we go could depend on sponsors and events and how we make it work. So there is a lot of things to do about that. So heaps going on with GTR Festival. And I saw a question there quickly. The magazine is going to be finished printing this Friday. So GTR Hub Volume 3, I should receive it by Tuesday or Wednesday next week. We're going to try and bring a couple of boxes to the Tuned meet this Saturday if we can, but deliveries will start next week for GTR Hub Volume 3. So if you want a copy, grab it now. It's awesome coffee table spec GTR magazine that we do every year. It was meant to come out earlier. Long story, but it's ready now. So the plan is to bring it out before the USA again this year. So yeah, there's a lot going on. But yeah, those that missed everything about the project cars, go back and watch it from the start again. We've basically covered project cars, covered Cootamundra now. Look, I can see some of the questions there about things like speed limits or 8th mile, etc. Look, no offense, a 2,000 horsepower GTR that at the 8th mile, no, it's still just as likely to end up on its roof again, because that's usually where it goes wrong, is at half track. And you got to remember, like, sanctioning bodies and insurers aren't stupid. Like, if a car runs an 8th mile time that's indicative of like a high 7 at 200 mile an hour, same danger level. Yeah. I explained before with Cootamundra, it's the insurance side of it and rules and regulation changes. Some of them are completely valid. A couple I don't agree with on the council side, but that's fine, and we're working on it at the moment. So everyone giving support, saying they'd love to see it come back, is a good thing. The more support that video gets, the more support people say they'd love to see it back. Hopefully that makes the council listen, right? So we're in talks at the moment. There's plenty of councillors and council members that want us to keep going back. So it's being worked on. That's what you need to know about Cootamundra. And like I said, Drag Battle and GTR Challenge are probably going to end up at Heathcote, or at least talks for that have started. We may get a runway thrash back this year. Maybe. I'll try. I'll keep you guys posted. So that's project cars. I'm really excited about the Nitto 3.4 litre stroker inside a big bore bullet engineering billet block to make a 3.6 litre over at CRD. And yes, we will keep the same head package. Supertech have sponsored that car before and are continuing to. So we've got everything we need for another head that's identical, but we may put the old one on and save the new head for the gold car. But either way, Supertech valve train, CRD's spec camshafts in it, and their porting, etc. So on a 3.6 litre that's billet and wide journal, man, that thing's just we're going to have to actually turn the torque down in the mid-range so we don't just break everything. So I'm really excited about that. We are under the pump to get it ready for TX2K, but yeah, we're on the way. So that's project cars, that's Cootamundra, that's GTR Festival. Let's have a look at some questions, shall we? Someone just said a GTR podcast would be a fantastic idea. I'm not going to lie, I've had in the back of my head, podcasts are getting more and more popular. I have thought about starting just essentially the GTR podcast. All things GTR, talking to different people. Now, the difference to this Q&A versus a podcast, this Q&A is so I can talk to you guys directly. You guys can ask questions and we can interact and find out stuff and update you on basically just what Moti's doing. While a podcast would be obviously speaking to other GTR people, right? And talking about topics and things like that. Do we have the capacity and the time to do it? Man, it's asking a lot. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes, but yeah, potentially. I also I work with other podcasters and I enjoy going on their shows, and the good thing about, I guess, is it's not really competition, right? Like if I do one, it doesn't compete with them. So it is potentially a possibility, yes. Someone said, I wish money grew on trees. I wish it did too, because GTRs are expensive and I'd love to get that gold car finished. And everyone always asks for updates on it. Trust me, the moment I pull the car cover off the gold car and do something to it, I'll post it straight away. I won't even wait 3 seconds. Someone said, yeah, hanging on the R35 engine, but yeah, fair. Yep, you're right. We're not a full-time workshop down here. If I had it my way, if we were a big enough channel, I would have a full-time mechanic downstairs and there'd be cars getting built nonstop. But it's just money. What else we got? Speed limit at the airstrip. Like I said, I covered 8th mile. We can't do it. People saying hello everyone. S13 Racer Australia. Hello. Where do we got? Someone asked about 8th mile. Hello from Germany. Hello. Actually, I'll say it while I'm here. Speaking of Germany, Alex, who did the book GTR The Journey, is working on episode 2 of that book, or volume 2. and will be coming to GTR Festival in Australia. We're in the middle of sorting that out. So I forgot to mention him. So GTR The Journey Volume 2 will finish up in Australia. And obviously you can do the math. It'll revolve around my history with GTRs, GTR Festival, PRP, Andrew Hannison's Legendary Garage. So there's a bit going on with that. Someone said, I'm sad that Cooter is going. His no prep events are the sickest. I agree, man. Like, making that Cootamundra video was like tearjerker for me. Like, I love that place, man. And just watching two GTRs just fight for traction out of the hole and just banging gears side by side, it's sick, man. Like, this versus that was awesome. My race with Johnny Habib's probably like my favorite drag race of all time ever. And the amount of people that said to me, "What, luck out, Johnny Habib's going to get you." I'm like, relax, man. I know how to drag race. And everyone's like forgotten that I could. So that was so cool. And he's a living legend as well. But just watching GTRs go head to head, the records, what those workshops did. Like, if you don't know the story, King 32 had like a failure at the track. And that happens when you're hunting for records. They built an engine overnight in the hotel room. I walked into a hotel room to see them cleaning a bare head in a bathtub. I was in 1320 video. And they put that engine back together. I heard it fire up at 3 a.m. It woke me up. And they went out the next day and broke the record. Like, that is extreme dedication. And Matuk's Racing have done that many times, where they've just the extreme dedication to either pull a diff out of one car, get into another, fix it, get it done, like getting runs at 1 minute past our cutoff just so they can get the last run of the day in to try and break their record. Like, it's fierce, man. And like, Croydon have done it. They had the very first record the first year. They've gone tit for tat. Motorsports Mechanical have held the record, and they've done some crazy things, but like heaps of shops. Precision Racing with their V10s and R35s is wild. Just Engine Management have been a long time supporter of the event. Bearing Automotive's been there, Advance. John Martello came up from Melbourne, Tuner's Edge from Melbourne, been big supporters. We've had people come from Queensland, visitors from Perth, all sorts of stuff. So the memories are pretty crazy. Yeah, crazy. And it's I'm going to make like 5 more highlight videos, one of each event, and I'm sure there's going to be some pretty cool stuff coming out. Someone said, how modern ECU work. Don't worry, man. You know what? That HKS video probably didn't reveal everything about my trip with them. I will say this. I don't know how to say this without probably someone taking it wrong, but I'll try. I've always flown the flag for Australian product for a very long time, and almost had a chip on my shoulder that our stuff is better than everyone else. But sometimes you realize it's not about always being better or faster. Sometimes people just want the brand and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, HKS back in the day were just like, man, everything they touched was the fastest. So you didn't need to ever question them. But with social media and YouTube now, people want more information, want more proof. HKS is still building really cool stuff, even if it's not necessarily like the fastest. They are still developing and testing behind the scenes. Now, I didn't know that. So when I spent a couple of hours with one of their engineers with a translator from HKS USA, thanks, Kato, I was able to find out a lot of information from HKS and found out they are still doing a lot of really cool R&D behind the scenes and putting a lot of effort into it. And they do want to help progress the GTR and RB tuning scene. They really do. And now they're happy to like communicate with me about like testing things, advice on what to release to market and when and how. Like, so I've like pretty big honor to now be communicating with HKS. It's a slow start. It's not like I'm going in there tomorrow and telling them exactly what to do, but it is cool that they are liaising with me about things, and I'm talking to their engineers about stuff. I've asked the right questions. They give the right answer. So like, it's pretty cool. It's very cool. Someone said, come to Greece, the home of the fastest R35 Euro and home of the Z-Tune. Oh, hello, Christos. Yes, Christos actually was a CID customer and lived in Sydney, bought the Z-Tune off Powerplay Imports. I actually watched that Z-Tune turn up to CID and go into a dyno. And it made like, I don't know, 330 kilowatts or something, which like, back in 2000 and must have been like 06, 07, somewhere around there. That was heaps. So I've watched a Z-Tune arrive. Back when they were normal money, Christos bought it and he actually converted to single turbo. He has everything he needs to put it back. He took the car to Greece. So, hey, we know we've got a Z-Tune in Greece, right? So the GTR Festival there, maybe. Who knows? That's pretty funny. Someone says, do you think it's better to buy a Sunny GTR and Mazda 323? You already know the Nissan badge for me, buddy. Someone said, how successful do you think Texas GTR Festival was, and did it meet your expectations? Yes and yes. My goal with Texas was never to have like some huge moneymaker the first event. My goal was always deliver a product that whether 500 people or 5,000 or 15 or 30,000 turn up, you have a product that everyone's going to go, this was sick. My goal was for everyone to leave there going, I had a great time. I got great memories. This was awesome. This is a new style of event. I wanted everyone to love it. And then the goal is that when they leave, they tell 10 mates to go. And I wanted everyone who didn't go to go, freaking hell, I should have gone. We had YouTubers make videos that didn't go talking about the FOMO of going. So the goal was always to create an event that we knew if we pulled it off, it would just instantly double this year. I think we did that. And the feedback from workshops, drivers, other YouTubers is the event was awesome. So we delivered a great product. Now, obviously, I saw it as I wasn't investing in the first event. I was investing in the first 5 events. So if you want to look at it from purely a P&L, no, it wasn't amazing from that angle, but that's not the point. The point was to create an awesome product, an awesome event, awesome memories, bring the scene together and grow it overall. Like, people always want to talk about money online and talk about what they think and all that crap. But realistically, it's a business. I want to stay afloat and I want to be able to afford to build GTRs and have a good time, right? But really, the number one priority for me is 10 years from now, I want to look back and go, man, I created and was part of building an awesome community and running great events with. Like, one of my favorite things from the USA, and I'll keep saying this, I've said it before, was if you know Moody GTR, he built a big Aussie spec GTR, B2R engine sequential. He so badly wanted to be the quickest Skyline GTR in the US and battle it out with me, which is awesome. It's what I wanted. He was having a tough weekend, like issues, like drivetrain things, like nothing like he didn't break the car as per se, but just issues with getting it down the track. And that can get very demotivating after a while. And I knew he was having a bit of a rough day on Saturday. And I knew he wanted to meet Hiroshi Tamura. So I grabbed Hiroshi and said, I want you to come meet a friend of mine. Let's go. And I took Hiroshi Tamura over to meet Moody GTR. And the look on his face that he, like the guy, like one of his heroes, and even, I don't like saying it about myself in any way, but like he watches us, and like, you know, for him, it was also, he wanted to meet and hang out with Motive team and me, etc. But to bring over Tamura and say, here you go, here's Tamura, show him your car, sign the dashboard, etc. The look on his face, his eyes lit up, to me, that's a memory. Like that's what I want to take away. Like, and he said to me in his interview at the end of it, he's like, I got to line up in the staging lanes against Sakamoto. I never thought I'd line up an OG of GTRs. I met Tamura. I met YouTubers from around the world. I met the owner of the quickest GTR in the world. I met CID. And he's like, he just went home with so many memories that said, all I ever want to do is come to this event every year for the rest of my life. And that is what you want to hear as an event promoter and a GTR fanatic, because I'm a GTR fanatic first and an event promoter second. For me, running events was just like, if I don't do it, someone else might, and I think I should do it. So I didn't become an event promoter first. I was a GTR fan first. So that's everything I do with GTRs, is just being a GTR fan and having an idea and go, let's do that. From a magazine to GTR Challenge, GTR Festival, Project Cars, tech videos, it's all GTR fanatic first. If I can grow old and just keep hanging out with GTR people and playing with GTR, I'm happy. It's the reality of it. So did Texas do what it was meant to do? Fucking hell, it did. Oops, probably shouldn't swear. So pumped about the future of that, to be brutally honest. Someone said, how's Jet 200 looking? Man, I love that car. I went down and started it up the other day. It's all good. We're basically just, after GTR Festival, we'll quickly throw a billet block in and go back out. Now, why so easy on that? Well, here's the thing. They've changed the rules at World Time Attack. Our car was always a midfield car for years and years and years because of budget and a bunch of mates doing it, right? At the end of the day, there wasn't ever really any like race shops, if that makes sense. It's all enthusiasts. But once we got the car reliable, it was a lot faster than people thought it was going to be. And it's a lot simpler than some of the other cars around it. So that got us motivated. And then last year, we're on the hunt for a 28 and like potentially even fight for 4th. But the problem is we're never fighting for a podium with the cars ahead of us. It's just not happening. Just not happening. But then World Time Attack changed rules. Now there's a Pro Open and an Open. And our car was, I guess, I don't know if it's coincidence or whether it was on purpose, but it kind of ended up at the top end of what Open's going to be. We only have to basically pull the top canards off, and we're clear, well within the rules. So now we go into this event as a podium contender. So it's like, stuff it. Let's put a bit of luck in it and run 45 pounds through it in the shootout. Like, because the car just loves horsepower. That thing, I don't know what it is. As soon as the shootout comes around, we put 40 pound up its bum. That thing just loves it. So and it's weird because Boston even said usually a lot of tour drives go backwards as you like add power, but your car just seems to like, you give that thing 800 at the tires instead of 600, and it's almost like I don't know. It just seems to really work with power in it, which is, I don't know how to explain that in the best technical term, but the car comes, it loves horsepower, and we can use it. So, and if anyone says horsepower isn't everything in circuit, at Sydney Motorsport Park, another 200 horsepower makes the car a lot faster. There is a lot of space to accelerate in that track. Will we turn it up even higher? Got to build a block and see what happens, right? If we test it on a G35 1050 or something like that, and we're like, we can go. We might try G40 1150 and make 1,000 tires in that thing. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But at the moment, it's billet block, slightly larger turbo, probably just like a 115 rear housing and a G35 1050 instead of a G35 900. Also, the Gen 2 stuff's coming out, so we may test the generation 2 of the G series or G series 2 and do the G35 990 potentially, which is exactly the same size, fits in the same spot, no fab work, extra 90 horsepower potential. That could work really well for us when we're squeezing the thing off its head. So yeah, that's what's going to happen with that. So that's what's going with Jet 200. But yeah, the team's pumped. We'll be getting the gang back together. Matt from Red Sun, build the new engine, tuning. Rob Abellino, crew chief. Chris Spicer in charge of the chassis. Shockworks in charge of that. And myself there as well. So I'm actually really pumped for World Time Attack. Tony, where's the king of CUDA? All Tony cares about is he needs his crown. Don't worry, Tony. You know what? I'll make you one. I'll bring the GTR Festival. How does that sound? Hi from SA. Gold car needs twin 3037s. I nearly did that, but I want to put a T51R. I have one on my shelf out there. I have a T51R SPL that I want to put on there. Still planning on doing the stage build of the 35. You know what? 35's development is almost, I could go and talk to 10 workshops and calculate between all of them the exact steps that do exactly what with those things. And if we built it, it wouldn't change anything. The problem I've got is we have to build an engine from a completely bare engine. I'm probably going to do if the engine's out and you're building, I'm not going to build a stocker. I'm going to build something that can handle my end goal, right? If I'm going to build a 1,350 horsepower capable VR38, Con's like, man, I am not putting stock turbos on that. I'm doing part by part. Like, it's just build it. So we may end up just building it. And I could potentially look at getting another 35 that I borrow or use as a development. I can't buy another one, but the possibility is even there that if someone out there said, take my 35 and do FBO development on it. All right, maybe. Possibility, but guess what? You won't have your car for a while. So that's a possibility. Someone said, where's PJ these days? The guy with the 2J and the S13. PJ had an SR20 VE that was hectic in that thing. And then he converted that to all-wheel drive. He's putting something else in it now. He will be back. I remember the GTRs, where's reasonable and have to settle for a 33 GTS 25T. I actually really want to build a GTS 25T. Just to do an RB25 and do a rear-wheel drive and something a bit cheap. I do want to do it. When? Man, you've already seen how many project cars we're trying to do. So, yeah. Oh, big thank you to T. Someone has put in some dollars. Now, they probably heard me say before, our YouTube channel's not big enough to just build cars full-time. Someone says, possible to make a new Cootamundra style event where that's nationals at all the different runways, maybe. No, the runway is the problem. I want to move GTR Challenge and Drag Battle to Heathcote if I can, because that's still a country town vibe. You can do it no prep, huge runoff, all the safety, etc. So yeah, we have talked about that earlier. Someone said it's all about branding and marketing. The more people see, the more people want. Always, but it's this day and age. It's also about building cool factor and building just the want or FOMO. GTR Festival worked really well because we made people go, I need to go to this. And the goal was to make it coming out of this event, people go, I really need to go to this. So it's sometimes about creating urgency and creating FOMO as much as it's about just purely, I guess, branding. Like there's more to it. You can put your brand everywhere and some people may still just ignore it. So the one thing we have going for us is we're so entrenched into the GTR community, we can do it. Someone said, could you anywhere in Nitto making a lightweight version of the 2.8 wide journal with a lower power limit, but still exceptionally strong? Well, you can just get the non-wide journal 2.8. That is that's what they've got. You'd be surprised, like making a lightweight stroker, like it probably won't cost any less. So it's not really worth it. Someone said the HKS visit was cool as F. It sure was. It's like the specs they stop. And you're right. There's a lot of areas of Japanese tuning that they're way behind us, but there's still plenty of areas they're great at. And hope I get to work with them on moving on and do that. I'd love to do an event in Japan, potentially. No one's bought roll racing there, etc. So yeah, there's a lot to going on. Someone said, are you going to Adelaide Jambo in October? I can't. I'll be in America and in Japan. I'll be at R's meeting in Japan at the end of October. And then I'm at SEMA, then I'm at GTR Festival. And I'll probably be in America for all of the start of October for promotion work. So this is the reality now of us doing more international GTR events. And I guess thinking on a global scale for Moti Video and GTR Festival is that like I've been going to Australian events for 2 decades, man. Like my first event was 2004 working for AutoSale in Brisbane. And I worked with my mates in Perth on stuff before that. So like I've been going to car events as a work capacity for 2 decades. And yeah, I love the Australian car scene. I've been a huge part of it for those 2 decades. I've done everything I can to make it better and help it. And I truly have only ever cared about making it a better place. But just if we want to expand, I've just accepted the fact we're just going to miss some Australian events now. That's just the reality of it. Your focus changes as you expand and grow. And I've probably late bloomed on doing some of this expansion. So unfortunately, I can't get to as many events as I can, but I will be going to an event in Darwin in July. I will say that. The boys have asked to have me back. This time I'm going to try and get a couple of cars up there. Hey, Tony, if you want your crown, come to Darwin roll racing. 4 lanes wide, and it's like triple the length of Sydney. It's mental. So there you go. Tony, we want you in Darwin. So we take Tony's car. If my GTR comes back from the US in time, I'll take it. If not, I might take my Group A car to do passenger rides and demos. And who else should we bring? Romanos. Let's bring Romanos. What do you reckon? Should we get Romanos and Tony to go to Darwin? Let me get the date back out. It's in July. It's the weekend in July of the 26th and 27th. I can tell you right now that going to Darwin is sick. The people are awesome. The cars are wild. They may not be as fast as down here, but it's mental. But if we take 2 Sydney cars up there for roll racing and having some fun, we'll go out in a boat, go fishing, party, everything like it's mad. So, Tony, if you're watching, come to Darwin. We'll pay the transport. How's that sound? And Romanos, if you guys want to come to Darwin, have some fun, let's do it. So, yeah, that's going to happen. So I thought I'd mention that. We're going to be at Goodwood in July, R's meeting in October, SEMA, GTR Festival. Actually, let's start at the start. Here's our year. We did Canberra Summer Nats and Tokyo Auto Salon in January. February, at the start of it, we did the Bathurst 12 hours. I've been to Bathurst. I've already had 3 trips this year. I leave to the US on the 2nd of March to get my GTR ready for TX2K. We do TX2K. I've got some visiting to do with people over there. I get back at the 23rd or something of March. I leave again on the 2nd of April overseas to I can't tell you yet. Get back, then that's preparation for GTR Festival Australia on the 23rd, 24th of May. We then go to New Zealand for the 7th of June GTR Festival. I've got to go to England in July, come back to go to Darwin. End of August. I don't know if I'm going anywhere in August at this point, but I may need to go to the US, but I'll see. I will be getting ready for World Time Attack in August. Then once World Time Attack is over, start of September, I head back to the US to do promotion and the marketing drive for the USA. And then I come back. Then I go to Japan at the end of October for R's meeting. Then I go straight to SEMA or Vegas for SEMA. Then I do GTR Festival in Texas. Then I have to basically either go straight to Japan for Nismo Festival, straight back for PRI, come home, and then get ready to go to Summer Nats again, then Tokyo Auto Salon again. So, yeah. Now you see why a lot of local events are harder to beat to. But we're going to be at the Tuned Meet this weekend. We're going to be at, which is the next level event with roll racing this Saturday at the track. It's going to be big. We are also going to be at Hot Import Nights at Castle Hill the following weekend. And then I leave the weekend after that. So, but like I said, we will be at World Time Attack this year. We will be at Darwin's big motorsport roll racing, drag racing festival event. I can't remember the name of it. Terrible. I think they've changed the name for this year. So, yeah, someone said, hey, Hawko, thanks for the memories of Cuda. Thanks to you. No, I very much appreciate it. I appreciate all of you that have been watching this for a long time. Someone says, Blair Reed, I've been watching your content for 20 plus years. You made it. You know what? I'll tell you a little secret. At no point have I ever felt like I've made it at all. It's still like slogging and flogging and vlogging. And no, actually, I don't vlog. But it's like the goal to make a better car scene, a better event, a faster car, to teach you guys to do better tech, just doesn't stop. So you never really like make it. But you're right. If I step back and kind of like flew back in time and grabbed 18-year-old Andrew or 20-year-old Andrew and said, come look at this, fly back here and go, look at this. You got an editing studio. You got the studio downstairs with a hoist, and you own 4 GTRs. I mean, none of them run right now, but whatever. You've got your mate's Minds replica GTR downstairs at the moment. And like, you travel around the world. Like, I get it. But there is no make it because we're always trying to do something. Someone said, any news regarding GTR 700 now 33? We did speak about my 33 earlier. There is no update. There's no money. GTR 700, it will come back one day. I just don't know how long. And he said, chance you could look at some VG30Es in the future. Man, I'll be honest with you. I can't even get through the RB26s we got. So you got to remember, every time we touch a car, I spend tens of thousands of dollars to make hundreds of dollars back. That's the reality right now. Like, I can make a YouTube video where I spend 3 days writing a script and doing research, 2 days filming it, 3 days editing it, It ends up being like an 8-day video with 10 working staff days onto it, which means it's like a $15,000 tech video. And on YouTube, I'll make $1,000. So I lose money on a lot of these big videos, but I don't care because it's part of our bigger picture of what we're doing for the GTR community. So every time you guys become like a paying member, like where it's $5 a month, $20 a month, or donate here like someone has. Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. The donations actually, believe it or not, just help towards us just doing more cool stuff. I've got 2 scripts for 2 technical features right now I want to do. You ready for this? One is, why is my RB misfiring? I see it every day, every single day. I'm nearly finished a script on that. I want to film it next week. I want to do another video, another revised video on oiling systems explained, what's wrong with the RBs and how to fix it, because I'm just sick of the arguments and seeing it. We've already done like, what oil should I use? If you've got tech video ideas for an RB you want, put it out there and I'll see what we can do. I want to do more of them this year, help educate people. And every time someone comes up to me and says, thank you so much for your videos, I learned so much, it helped me build my car. To me, that is the best interaction to have with people, because it's another GTR owner or a Nissan owner or even just a car enthusiast. For them to say, I learned a lot, thank you, is, to me, that's the best. Like, I don't want people to walk up and be like, hey man, you're like famous, can I get a photo? Now the photo thing's fine, but it's like the intent, right? Like, I'm not a vlogger that shows what I drove around in my supercar all day and what I had for lunch and went to the jewelry shop, or like, what I did. Like, that's not what we do. We make technical features, project cars, event coverage. We run events, and we want it all to be, serious and technical. So I want people to learn and people to enjoy our events. Like, that's it. That's the fundamental of it. So I love that interaction. It's the way to do it. Okay. People in the past have referred to you as the granddaddy of GTR. I think it's more like you're the chairman of the board. No one promotes the GTR harder than you do. Keep up the work. I'm not the granddaddy of GTR. There are people generations ahead of me. I've got the people I looked up to. Like, you've got all the Japanese tuners, like Smokey Nagata, HKS, Veilside, Garage Active. They're the granddaddies of GTR tuning. I came in as like Rob Margin and Croydon were getting started. Dom from Auto Style was like, I kind of looked up to him as like the GTR whisperer in Australia. And Croydon with GTR 700. Even they were like just before me. Then I came in and just absorbed everything, used my engineering background to do the development, learn, teach people things. That's like, yeah, and you're right. The chairman of the board is probably a better way to put it, because there's 10 granddaddies and CEOs and shareholders above me, right? Like, but I'm the one that's trying to piece all this together so we can all have an awesome GTR community. So I like that. Someone said GTR 700. Yep. Yeah, like I said, it's going to happen. So what else? What's next? What else have you got? Well, we might start seeing PRP new cast builds coming out. It's happening. I communicate with Herman and we release things as we're ready to release them. It's like sometimes a slight revision takes a while, or you've got to wait for dyno time, etc. But I know that their engine is on the engine dyno right now. So soon, I'm hoping to see blocks. I don't want to say in 2 months or a month or whatever. I don't want to say anything. It's up to Herman to say. But I'm excited. I know what's happening. And testing is happening at the moment. Someone said, your passion is amazing. I've owned the 31, 32, 33, 34. My life crisis kicked in and I just bought the 35 last week. Yeah, awesome. That's what I want to hear. And like I said, I want people to watch, learn, and help their GTR experience by watching our channel. GTR's Day in the UK. You mean GTR Festival in the UK. The discussion on that has already begun. If anyone in the UK is watching, email SantaPod and say, hurry up and give Andrew Hawkins and Motive Video and GTR Festival options for dates, pricing, and details. So I've asked the question. I'm waiting for the answer. And it's like nothing negative about saying that. I'm not asking anyone to get upset, but hey, email SantaPod and say, yo, let us know. So yeah. Any shows coming up in Melbourne? I've never seen that username before. MotorEx. I didn't mention that earlier, did I? I feel bad now. We talked about overseas events, but like I said, internal events. Tune this weekend. We're going to be at the Castle Towers Hot Import Nights next weekend. And something we're really about to announce, because I was going to announce it officially next week, but now I've been told I have to announce it now. We're going to run a GTR meet in Melbourne as part of MotorEx. So if you know anything about MotorEx, it's like the premier show where they unveil like crazy car shows. They've got drifting and they've got almost like a SEMA style thing for traders, but they also have like a street section. It's like $30 to enter for the day. It's like Same price as a ticket, but get your car in. And they've said, you guys, go for it. Have a GTR meet in Melbourne. So if you're in Melbourne and you own a GTR, actually, you know what? Stuff it. If you own a Nissan and you want to come and hang out with us at MotorEx, basically all you got to do is jump online and just enter in like the streetcar section and just put in there that you've got a Nissan or a GTR. So 3rd and 4th of May. Let's take it one step further, shall we? I'm going to do our own trophies for Melbourne GTR people. So if you come to MotorEx Saturday 3rd, Sunday the 4th, you can come for one day, you can come for both days, and you park in the Moti Video and GTR Festival Nissan area. Not only do you get to hang out with us and do some filming and videos and stuff like that, we'll have some giveaways and merch, all the usual. We're going to give out some trophies, probably like Best 32, Best 33, Best 34, Best 35, and Best in Show. Whoever wins Best GTR at MotorEx, we will give you a travel allowance to come to GTR Festival in Sydney. There you go. Done. So Saturday the 3rd, Sunday the 4th, MotorEx. Adrian, I was going to announce it next week. Now I've announced it early. There you go. So MotorEx is a big show for us. We're going all in at that. And I will say this, LMCT's bought into that as well now. And the team that run MotorEx obviously run Summer Nats and drag racing. The mad event. So like the cars that get unveiled are wild. And I do know there is a GTR being unveiled at that event that I am sworn to secrecy that is going to be unveiled at MotorEx. And it is going to completely revolutionize the GTR world when it comes to racing. The end. Nothing has ever been built like it. Nothing. I don't even know if anyone's ever going to want to try and compete with it, put it that way. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying any names, who built it, what it is. I'm just saying that there's going to be a GTR unveiled at MotorEx in Melbourne that is, I have to be there and be part of that and watch it and see your reaction. It is going to be freaking awesome. So MotorEx, you want to come hang out with us? Any Nissan, any like modified Nissan, you want to come hang out with us? GTR or not? GTRs will get preference. I'm sorry. But they've said we can bring 50, we can bring 100, stuff them. Bring 200 Nissans, please. Let's have like a mini GTR festival inside MotorEx, Saturday 3rd and 4th, Saturday 3rd, Sunday the 4th of May. So go onto their website, literally just click entrance and go in and enter Aeroflow Real Street. It is $30, which is the same as a spectator ticket, and you get to park in the show. It's literally a free entry on top of your spectator ticket. You have no excuse not to get your GTR out and come bring and park it. That's right. So I'm going to harp on about that 10 times more in this video. So next question. Would you ever take on a DR30 project? Man, I can't get through what I've got, but never say never. Once again, Tom, thanks for the donation. Tom heard what I said before. Why isn't No Secrets getting finished? Money. Not enough money. Our YouTube channel is not big enough. Tony, deal. Done. Tony's coming to Darwin, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. I hope guys from Darwin Off-Street Enthusiasts are listening. Tony's Lambo, the king of Cootamundra street cars, the fastest true street car in the... I can make up 100 records if you like, but he's a good dude and it's a cool car. And you know what? If you buy a ticket to that event as a spectator, we're going to put you in the draw for a passenger ride in that car. There you go, Tony. There you go, Tony. Darwin in July. Let's do it. It's going to be a mad boys trip away, that is. Fishing, partying, racing, hanging out. It's going to be great. No, I could not handle FJ 20 pound. Yes. Can you hire a few tunnels and do time attacks? Man, that would be even more dangerous than an airport. You can swap my R33 or drive. Big job, man. Big job. Thanks for your efforts, Andrew. Will ever see some of the fast Sydney cars on the Great White Dyno at Lake Gardner, South Australia? No, and I'll tell you why. The reason why most GTRs stick to quarter mile is once you go out of fifth gear 1-to-1 and pull that top gear, the amount of load on an engine for a sustained period of time, man, a little 2.6, 2.8, 3 litre, you know what's going to happen, bro. And just the aerodynamics, like to build a car for land speed racing is a totally different car to drag racing or a street car. And hats off to land speed racers because I have an aeronautical engineering degree and actually understand aero. I know how much work goes into making a car do what it does. So LZ World Tour NZ. What's the date of that? LZ World Tour presented by I love the one in Melbourne. Friends with Adam. So Taupo Motorsport Park 3rd and 4th. No, MotorEx same weekend. So nope. September 27th, Cartoo and Castle Combe, and I don't think I can. No, well, the weekend that E-Town is on in New Jersey is when I fly out of coming back. Maybe. Speaking of HKS, what's your thoughts on VCAM? The problem with VCam is this. Everyone always compares it to on and off, but never compares it to like another setup that you could use. The reason I haven't used VCam is quite simply my camshafts are freaking huge. Over 290 degrees, 11.85 mil lift. You can't VCam that thing. You rotate that, you're smashing everything. So VCam is like, do you go VCam or do you go like an RB32 and then have like a big head on it and have even more drivability? So like it's just weighing up those things. Now, I actually want to try VCam on the Group A car. I do. I want to try it and just have my own data and my own everything. So that's on the way, because rather than make judgment on driving other cars that may or not be set up properly, I will say this, between what I've seen with Dartone and what I've seen with RAV Performance in the US, I've seen some really good results. Stuff that makes me go, okay, yeah, okay, right, I want to try this. Like, so yeah, is VCam worth it? It depends. There are other things you can do, but I would love to see some different style of comparisons. So someone said, any chance of a GTR Festival Japan? There is a chance. That's all I'm going to say right now. Will it happen? Don't know. Apart from Darwinworthy, any events in Australia 2025? Yes. We will be at, like I said, Tuned this weekend, Castle Towers next weekend for Hot Import Nights. We'll have a stand at both. We will be at, the next event we're at in Australia is MotorEx at the start of May, unless something pops up in April, but unlikely. MotorEx at the start of May. We may have our team at the Motor Show in Melbourne as well, potentially. I'm not sure yet, because I'm probably going to be overseas, but the team could still go. Obviously, we've got GTR Festival 23rd to the 25th of May, GTR Festival New Zealand 7th of June, and then I don't think we'll be at an Australian event again until we come back to Northern Territory in July, the 26th, 27th, with the guys from Darwin Off-Street Enthusiasts for their big event, which is going to have roll racing and other stuff and everything. So that's going to be cool. And Tony's Lambo's coming. Next, we're going to get Romanos to go, and then I'll bring a car, and that'll be a hectic weekend. Apart from what else we got? Up the camp, man, Camp Dogs are sick, right? Camp Dogs channel is the opposite of mine. So some people kind of watch theirs and watch mine and go, are they like? But I can tell you right now, man, we're best buddies now. Like hanging out with them was some of the funnest stuff. I love what they do, and they're actually way smarter than I guess a no shirt, no shoe wearing person from Darwin smashing a car together is. They are smarter. They are smart dudes, and they're awesome guys. They love having fun. I love the driving their cars was great. They, regardless of what they look like, they worked. And yeah, I can't wait to get back up there, hang out with the Camp Dog guys. Hopefully, you know what? Anyone from Darwin's watching this, let the Camp Dog guys know. Come to GTR Festival in Sydney. Let's try and make that happen. There we go. I just keep trying to make cool stuff happen. Let's do that. Let's get the Camp Dog boys down. If you agree, just put agree. Camp Dogs GTR Festival. Just get on it. We're going to have more YouTubers at GTR Festival Sydney than the USA. What would you ever take on not saw that one, LZ, to apart from Darwin, Camp Dogs. Someone said, yep, Devote about CUDA. I hear you, man. Like, I still am as well. Throttle by wire versus cable throttle, single versus ITB tech vid. We've already done a 6 throttle versus single throttle tech video for over 1,000 horsepower. And my prognosis is if you make under 1,000 horsepower, stay 6 throttle. Standard size even. And the best inlet manifold or collector to put on it is a Nismo. So do you want my recommendation for under 1,000 is ITBs with a Nismo. Now, do you go drive-by-wire or cable? I think you go drive-by-wire if you got the money, because drive-by-wire gives you cruise control and better strategies to look after things. It cleans up underneath, less things to go wrong, idle stepper motors, blah, blah, blah. Dartone or IAE both make a 6 throttle conversion, standard 6 throttles, drive-by-wire, Nismo inlet for under 1,000. The moment you've got like a 2.8, and even then, I'd be staying with them probably even if you had a 2.6 or a 2.8. Once you're over 1,000, or you got an RB30, etc., or even 2.8, 3-liter 32, single throttle drive-by-wire is superior. We did the video. Now, I'm not saying you can't stay stock until 1,400. I've seen cars make 1,400 through stock, but it's just one of those things. Like I made an extra 40 horsepower going from a 6 throttle with a Hypertune 6 throttle inlet to a Hypertune V1 even with 82 millimeter drive-by-wire. I picked up 40 horsepower instantly. So, and didn't lose any bottom end on an RB32. So, I mean, that's a high revving, big head RB32. Like, he doesn't care. You can do anything to it below 4,000. I ain't going to change it. Car's mad. So, thank you. Thank you, Arthur. Can you do a tech video on why my fuel gauge and driver's window isn't working? Because it's old Nissan crap. Been there, done that. That's why I rewired my entire 32. Someone said, James Adam, thank you, mate. Said, love the commitment. Yep, throttle by wire. Saw that one. Also, way back when he was crawling, Andrew would not stop about GTRs this and GTR that to see it. Yeah, true. GTR this, GTR. With Jet Trag so hard to come by or service, what would your go-to gearbox be for a road and track car? The Get Trag has really changed the car, but that's not a viable option anymore. Someone is working on a 6-speed synchro H-pattern gear set that goes inside the 5-speed. I won't say who because I don't want to give anything away about it. I am involved in it. The same company is also working on a replacement Get Trag parts and gear set. That's all I'm going to say. Guys can stir that around all you like. Someone said GTR Festival UK at Dunsfold Park Aerodrome. Okay, let me say this about working at an event. It's a GTR festival, so it's a festival. We have drag racing, roll racing, drifting, motorcana, passenger drift rides, kids rides, fireworks, food trucks, DJs, concerts, car show. If you've been to Santa Pod, they have a drift arena with grandstands. They have kids rides and amusement rides already there. They have food trucks and a cafe and a stage and everything already there. A drag strip that's fully prepped. A car park big enough for a giant car show for 1,000 cars, and another motorcana area on the other side and drift area that's massive, and they can fit 5,000 campsites. There is just literally no logic to going anywhere other than Santa Pod for the event. And I've always said that the venue doesn't always determine whether the event's any good. It's how you use it. The end. Like Sydney Dragway is a great facility, but it's still a dragway with a car park. That's it. But Santa Pod actually already has the things we have to bring in. So I wouldn't look outside of Santa Pod until Santa Pod says no and it can't work. But I will think Dunsfold in the back of my head. Someone said, love your work. Keep it up. GTRs. Thank you. That motor show, I'll be at MotorEx, brother. Awesome. See you there, dude. Let's hang out, make some content. Someone said, please arrange a meetup in the Middle East or a GTR festival in the Middle East, and then maybe in the UK. Also, lots of GTR lovers there. Hey, mate, thought not a GTR, but what are your thoughts on Skyline 400R with the 400 horsepower V6, maybe when you're in Japan, if you haven't already? I'll take on for a drive. At the end of the day, it's like, it's the latest like V37 or whatever it is, Skyline chassis with a twin-turbo V6, and it's like a Z, but a Ford or whatever. Like, I know what it's going to be like. It's a nice modern car. It's all right. What else we got? Any events planned for South Africa? Maybe. Like, if a workshop from South Africa rang me and said, I got a bunch of GTRs here, we'll chip in some money for you to bring your GTR World Tour to South Africa, I'd go. But like, I can't just go. Like, it's like you got to either have a hookup or an event on or someone helping sponsor or fund it, because like to go to South Africa with me and a cameraman for a week, that might be a $10,000 trip plus editing, $15,000 to make 2 videos that make $150 each. You can see the business model. You have to come a long way since tyres on Capella. Hello, Brock. Yeah, a little bit. You remember I actually worked at a tyre shop. When I first got into the car scene, I accidentally became a commentator at Auto Salon Brisbane. So I then got offered heaps of commentating jobs, just nothing. I never thought I was going to be a commentator. I had no idea, didn't cross my mind. But obviously can speak well, engineering background, can present information to people well. But same as now, right? I was just naturally able to do that. Got a job at Auto Salon and I needed a day job. And Pete worked at Tyre Zone and he goes, just come work here. So I actually was a tyre fitter and wheel aligner for like 9 months. So I know how to wheel align my own car, use a top like a wheel align machine, tyre machine, everything. So that crap came in handy a lot later. Someone says, Matt, we're going to go head up to Darwin for the first time in my life. Dude, Darwin's sick. If you come to Darwin for the event we're going to do with the guys from Darwin Off-Street Enthusiasts, and we have like Tony's Lambo, my car, have our team up there, and we make it a big one. It's, mate, going to Darwin is like, it's not just the car event. Like I did swim with a crocodile, go to the pub, the sunsets on the beach are sick. There's boat trips, go fishing, like parties, meet cool people. I actually wish I'd spent a week there. And I think this time I will definitely spend a week there. Yep, someone said hats off. Someone said any events in Queensland. I'm going to try and make it to the King of QR, the Time Attack event. I can't commit to it at this stage, but that's what I'd like to get to. I might be at Jamboree the 23rd and 24th, now that it's 2 weeks before World Time Attack. The reason I didn't mention it before is not because I love Jamboree. It's just I haven't committed yet. But I would say it's likely that we're going to Jamboree Queensland and maybe King of QR. I won't be driving at King of QR because it's before World Time Attack because we want to test down here. But I might take my Group A car up there for some fun. Who knows? But you got to remember, man, like taking a Group A car, towing it up, doing a weekend of racing and coming back is like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 exercise, and YouTube video will make $200. So just understand that if I don't go to an event that I want to go to, it's not because of anything usually other than funding. That's just the reality, which is why we need sponsor help, why we need sponsor support. I'm not saying to you I have any type of issue or I'm worried about it. It's just the reality. It's all just, plus and minus in business, right? So is there any Sydney workshops you can please recommend for a single turbo conversion on an R34 GTR? I would use G35 900 or the S62 900. Bear in mind, the 6290 is actually a G35 I wouldn't put that on a 2.6 unless you had a massive head on it, as in like ported, big cams. For fastest response street weekend warrior, I would go G35 900 on an R-Tech fast response manifold. So you need a reverse rotation one with a 1.0 rear housing. If it's a stock bottom end, I'd have head gasket cams, drop-in cams, valve springs, or a V-cam, and a head gasket and studs. And if you have stock oil pump, you can leave the stock sump mostly. What do you think Sydney Auto Salon will ever come back? No, it's done. The end. I loved it. It's great, but it's done. That's just the reality of it. Which Sydney workshop would I recommend for that? Come on, man. This is Sydney. Like, if I recommend one workshop, every other workshop's going to ring me and call me, this, that. Why'd you There's a lot of good workshops in Sydney. This is the easiest way I'll put it. If they've been to Cootamundra and you've watched their car go down a track and you like it, then I recommend them. How about that? So, I'm going to forget one. Watch this. CRD, Matux Racing, Motorsports Mechanical, Birong Automotive, Dartone Racing, B2R, Just Engine Management. They're like the major shops that build Skylines that go to Cootamundra. I'm sure I forgot someone. They're going to be really upset about it, but they're the main ones. On it, my attitude is this: they're all good. They can all do it. They can all tune it. They can all do a great job. It's more about like who's your fit, who's closest to you, who do you enjoy hanging out with, etc. To me, they're very important things for the workshop. So yeah, that's my advice. Don't just go off price. Don't just ask for a quote and let them all price each other out. Go see who you want to live with. Looking for 2025. Thank you. So try not to burn out, mate. I will burn out with burnouts, warm up burnouts, victory burnouts, donuts. I can buy in a drift car. Yeah, I bite off more than I can chew and just keep on chewing and figure it out. I will need a holiday for a week at some point, though. It's getting pretty crazy. Minor detail. Thank you for the contribution. Thank you very much. Like I said, every time someone either becomes a member, pays a monthly fee, or donates, I just want to make more content. I'll start later. I'll do more. IE is the man. Correct. S13 Racer Australia. You know it. Oops, sorry, bumped the microphone. Do you know what cars are coming over from Sydney to Adelaide for roll racing? I have no idea. I don't work for roll racing, so I'm not sure. But whatever they are, they'll be fast. So look out. They're going to win. Hawkins, I remember you from Auto Salon days. Yeah, man. I worked for Auto Salon from 2004 to 2007 or something, and then did some stuff with them later. You reminded me lots of Ketzel Sterling. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Could be either. I did enjoy his videos. I want to hear something crazy. You used to live down the road from my parents' CBR driving an MX-6 Turbo. Yeah, in Canberra. Yeah, I lived in Canberra, had an MX-6 Turbo. This is true. You need an F15, God's airplane. Sorry, buddy. I'll stick with F18. Thank you. F15s are sick, though. As someone who just bought my first GTR, biggest power I've been in is 500 horsepower LS. What power would you recommend when building this GTR? Whatever you can afford to keep reliable. I've always joked and said like a GTR 35 isn't fun till it makes 1,000. That's not entirely true. It depends on the location you drive it, right? So if you just drive back roads and drive on your own, there's no reference point. Honestly, an FBO GTR that's like, intakes, downpipes, full exhaust, intercoolers, fuel system upgrade, E85 and tuned, and like not enough to break the factory gearbox, so you can keep the gearbox factory. That FBO level, which, can dip into the 9s, but if that runs low 10s all day on the street, man, that's heaps. Like, I miss owning a car like that. A low 10-second 35 on street tires with FBO. Yeah, they can go 9s if you really want to squeeze it, but like just low 10s. What's beating you on the street from a dig? And then if you drive it through a back road on a mountain run, man, sorry, it's even too much for most people. Like, it's a fast car, dude. So that's what I reckon. Like, to me, but I can't help myself. I'm going to build a 1,300 horsepower, 8-second 35 that also does laps of the circuit when turned down. I can't help it. That's just my brain. Favorite plane you have flown? Well, I've flown an F-18 from the back seat on a training mission, like when I was at 2 ACU service detachment. So I guess I'll say that. But if you want to go flown, I've also flown a PC-9. But like I learned on a 152. I'm not going to say 152. Cap 10 was really cool, actually. And CT4s were cool. But like, I'm going to go Hornet, bro. Someone said, just love the vids and content. Just wonder if the contact email correct on the online shop. It's info@jetmultimedia.com.au. That is our email. If anything's different to that, I don't know why. Someone said, thanks for bringing Hiroshi Tamura to Sydney. No problem. He's coming again. Would you want Starjet or Evil Twin? Evil Twin. I want twin engine, bros. That's sick. That's what I want. Quetzal Sterling comment. F14 Tomcat for the win. Tomcats are sick. I've got heaps of model planes up here. I've probably got a Tomcat up there somewhere. I don't know. It's somewhere. Yeah, I got a bunch of model planes up there, and there's another shelf above that. That's an F22 there. Oh, yeah. For those who haven't seen this, check this out. This was I kept one of these. That was one of the trophies for GTR Festival in Texas, the belt buckle for some of the categories. We'll be bringing that back. And even though most people would say if you wear a championship ring like this, that was a trophy at USA, but I did make some extras for my staff and sponsors. We're thinking about making these as trophies for Australia, New Zealand, and Australia. Australia, New Zealand, and America. So, but obviously modified to be 2025. And then only the winners of the main categories get it. So we are talking about that. Tony's already like flipping upside down, doing backflips and goes, give it now. So yeah, that's what we're working on at the moment. So I remember Speed Week back in the day. Yeah, man, wow. Speed Week. Yeah, I've been on Speed Week. I was on Banging Gears and all sorts of stuff. So I'm actually going to be on that Cool Cars show doing a special edition segment for Uniclutch. So I somehow managed to be, I think it's Channel 7. So somehow I'm back on that. Someone said, what would you pay for an R32 GTR V-Spec? I'm in the market for 32 GTR in the next month or so, and I'm not sure. 72K is a good price point or not. I'm not going to 72K for a look. I don't think R32 GTR V-Specs are any exclusivity or any reason to have other than that badge. V-Spec 2, at least it has Brembos and different wheels, right? Like, but really to me, a 32 V-Spec, if you're one of those people that just wants to be able to say, I've got a rarer car and want to be able to give a build number, go for it. Get a V-Spec. If you want to modify it, who cares? Cares? Just get whichever one, man. You don't like the color? Paint it. Wrap it. I don't care. Like, I'm all about building and having fun with them, bro. Like, I'm not a collector guy. I appreciate collector guys who preserve the ones that I think should be collected. Like Aussie delivered less than 100. Nismo's 500. So still reckon you can modify a Nismo as long as you keep it Nismo-y, right? But if you're just keeping it because it's a V-Spec, nah, man. Modify it and have fun with it. So 72K for a V-Spec. Yeah, look, if it's a V-Spec and it's similar sort of money to a good quality normal 32, then yeah, grab it. Like, I wouldn't pay more for a V-Spec personally, but like if someone said you can have a V-Spec and a non-V-Spec and the V-Spec's a couple of grand more, like, stuff it, might as well get it. But at least you know it's a long nose crank. Anyway, so that's a good thing about getting the V-Spec. Is 72K? You haven't told me if it's US dollars or AUD. If it's AUD, I also don't know. Is it stock? Is it modified? How many kilometers? I need way more info to give a decision. Why does the RB25 Neo get so much hate in the RB world? Who hated it? I don't hate it. They're sick. I remember Banger and some boys from WA were making like 700, 800, 900 horsepower on stock bottom end Neos with, drop-in cams, valve springs, head gasket, and a big ass turbo. So no, Neos are sick. Like, they're better than a normal 25 because they've got solid lifters in them. And they're, people say GTR rod, 26 rods in it and stronger and like, well, mate, Neos are sick. I don't know why there's any hate. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any hate. Electric gas hybrid turbos. Do you think they will make it to the aftermarket? Yes, one day they will make it to the aftermarket when someone can create a self-contained unit. You can remember you need battery packs, this and that. I think a turbocharger that can harness battery power on power down, like off throttle or part throttle or whatever, and then use that to spin the turbo up quicker, mate. That's win-win to me right there, buddy. Like that's the future right there. That way you can have your cake and eat it. Hi, mate. Hope you're well. Why did you leave the Air Force? Wasn't for me. A huge story to it, but wasn't for me. Hey, Andrew, I'm planning on traveling to Australia for World Time Attack from Canada. Sick. It's going to be mad. I'll be pushing 45-pounder boots through Jet 200. If you want to come hang out, you know what? Just come in my pit. Go, yo, I'm from Canada. What's up? And my team will let you in. Come say hello. We're pretty friendly at World Time Attack. Our pit, the only time we're like, don't come in right now is if we've just come back from a session and we're looking at data, we're looking over if you can see a flurry of activity on a Time Attack car, just stay back. Like once we've like gone over all that and we're chilled and you see we're all laughing, having a good time and got the tunes cranked, come say hello, come hang out, do whatever. We love people coming to say hi. I've shown so many people over that car, shown them every secret. I'm all good, man. What kind of GTR Skyline do you reckon would be a good for a P plate? None, because a P plater can't have. Can a P plater can't have a GTR? Can they? I mean, remove the P plate part. Just get what you like. I like 35s to be able to cruise around in Sydney, have auto, aircon, luxury, whatever. But nothing beats a Skyline GTR with 700 horsepower manual, just driving that thing properly. So, man, honestly, it's whatever you like. It's hard for me to say what I'd get. Someone said the 94 in KH2 in Queensland is going to buy, but it's sold. Probably okay. Yep. What does the R32 V-Spec have and the normal 32 GTR doesn't have? A badge. What else? Something else. I think it comes with some of the Nismo stuff on it already, like the boot lip spoiler and stuff like that. I don't know. I know V-Spec 2 has Brembo brakes and different wheels. I think V-Spec 1 is just like different shocks and springs, like Victory specification tuning to it. So, yeah. Was a rotary boy, but thanks to you and your vids, I had a 400 horsepower 32 GTR. Sick. That's what we want to hear. Thanks for confirming. Just send an email. Yep. Hey, mate, you're off to Perth this weekend. No, what's in? I don't know. Is there something on Perth this weekend? No, this weekend I'm at the Tuned Next Level and Roll Racing event at Sydney Motorsport Park. I'm going to the Prodigy concert actually on Thursday night or Friday night, one or the other. And then, we're going to be at Sydney Motorsport Park Saturday night. Next weekend we are at Hot Import Nights at Castle Hill, which is going to be cool. We've got a booth there. We're bringing a couple of cool cars. We're bringing the Mines-inspired 32 GTR from Legendary Garage that we had at the Bathurst 12 Hour. So that's February finished up. Then I leave to the US on the 3rd of March. We'll be at TX2K the following week. What am I doing after that? I don't know. I might go visit Tommy, might go here, might go there, not sure yet. Come back. I might go to Avalon Air Show personally. And then I go overseas again on the 2nd of April. And I can't tell you where yet. Are we going for a week? Come back. Then it's like 4 billion public holidays. And then GTR Festival in May. We got obviously MotorEx first on the 3rd and 4th of May, which we have a mini GTR Festival inside MotorEx. If you own any performance Nissan or GTR, Skyline, Silvia, if you've got a TB48 Patrol with a big turbo on it, whatever, come and hang out with us. It's $30 to go in the street meet at MotorEx. It's the same price as a spectator ticket. So basically it's free parking if you have a cool Nissan. Come park with us. The end. That's MotorEx, 3rd and 4th of May. GTR Festival, the test day is the 22nd, and the event is the 23rd and 24th. Roll racing on the 23rd, drag racing 24th, but we're going to have drifters versus burnouts on Friday night entertainment and fireworks and food trucks. It's going to be sick. For those who didn't hear earlier, I'm going to say it again. So roll racing on the Friday has changed. Last year we had the test day and roll racing same time, did not work. So now the test day is the 22nd while we're setting up. 23rd is just roll racing. Come in from 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock for spectators. You can then get scrutinied. Practice and qualifying starts at 12 noon and goes till 5:30. That is 5.5 hours of practice and qualifying for roll racing. Is it going to be an Elite 16? 16 bikes and then the rest. The rest just do elimination, and the Elite 16 is like they actually run set based on mile per hour, like a battle train. There's going to be big prize money. How much prize money should we give away? Well, I'll throw in $5,000. If we get another sponsor, we'll make it 10. How does that sound? $5,000 prize money minimum for roll racing. We are changing the run-up. Will be slightly shorter because people are going too fast. This year, it won't be a light. It will be you go at the start line. There'll be cones out, and your nose of the car must be between those two cones, and that's where you go. If you go early, you're disqualified. If you're above the maximum speed, you are disqualified. If you're below the minimum speed, you are disqualified. That's all we're looking at in the left lane. Left lane dictates the speed. You're going to do between, I think it's going to be 50 and 70 k's an hour is going to be the gap, is where it's at. And as the lead driver, you left hand, you get to dictate that speed. That's your advantage. That's why you want to qualify better in terms of your mile an hour. So that you go at the start line, not on a light. So if the guy in the right lane wants to hang back and slingshot, he will be disqualified, period. If you go before it and he jumps you in the right lane, disqualified. So there's someone who just watches the left, someone that just watches the right and only looks at what that person is doing. And because the light isn't there and you go at the start line, that's one less thing that the person watching has to worry about. You watch their speed. Now, the right lane speed's irrelevant because they've got to match left. So there's a speed gun in the left lane. You monitor speed. Over, disqualified. Under, disqualified. Go before the start line, disqualified. Right lane, go before the start line, disqualified. Try and slingshot, i.e. get a run up from here so that you kind of like are next to him at the start line, disqualified. If you are not next to them by the zone of like where the burnout pad is or the warm-up burnout area, you're done. And we're going to be harsh, and that's going to be it. But you have 400 meters, fully prepped track, mile an hour shown on the time board, top 16 shootout based on mile an hour, and everyone else just does a shootout. It'll be done by 8:30, so we can then going to have a drifters versus burnouts exhibition where you can vote for the winners, and then fireworks at 9:30, and then who knows, DJ. It's gonna be a DJ, lights, Tybo, lasers, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but I won't be bringing a kangaroo. We saved that for GTR Festival USA. So GTR Fest, and then we're talking about guests. We're going to have Hiroshi Tamura here again. Tommy Effier is coming. We're working with Street Alpha Podcast to get them here. We're building 2 GTRs for 2 YouTubers that I can't tell you about quite yet that are going to be unveiled at the event. Andrew Hannison's building another car from Legendary Garage. I'm going to unveil our Group A car there. Croydon have a car they're building for someone in the UK they're going to unveil there. And hopefully by then someone else is building something they can unveil. So what else is there? Will I build a stage here? No. Not that I don't want to or don't like them. It's just, yeah. Prodigy, who's taken over Keith's role as frontman? I don't know. Someone said, what is your favorite Prodigy song? Poison, Their Law, Smack My Bitch Up, Voodoo People. There's a Voodoo People remix I love. I don't know. One of them. Bet you're going to Europe. Who knows? Be better. Which would be better, street, race, or track? I don't know what you mean. For a GTR, well, you can build an all-rounder that does all 3, but it's never going to be like the best at one. Any thoughts on the resto mod craze with the Skylines now? Great to see them getting restored, but seems to be pushing the market over reach for many folks, even with the market cooling post-COVID. Have you seen what Singer Porsches and, like a Singer cost and some of the other Porsche specials? GTR's got a long way to go before they get there. Look, at the end of the day, if people with money want to buy a Built by Legends car as a collector's item, awesome, because it ensures the future of these cars. Everything that happens at the top end of everything filters down. So, for example, someone builds a Jun 2 and King 32, right? No, normal people aren't going to go build those. But the testing and development they do filters down to the cars below them and so on. If more cars are getting restored, someone's going to have to start making aftermarket molds, aftermarket window trims, and the more of those that get made or the other options for them, it'll actually bring the price of some of that stuff down. So you will find that over time, more restorations will mean that restorations get cheaper. That's just the reality of it. So I guess it's a good thing. There are other companies in the works right now who want to build complete GTRs. And if someone's building Singer-style Porsches, hectic. Good. I wish I could. I would do it. If someone said to me, go build a Motive GTR, like the ultimate Motive GTR, and I will buy it off you, I would start building them. The end. Like, who wouldn't? Favorite Prodigy song yet? So what's the engine spec going to be on your Group A? 2.6, twin low mounts, Nismo Plenum, some other little tricks I want to try. It's not going to be a replica. It's a tribute. Side pipe. It's actually going to have a sequential in it, to be brutally honest. The old sequential out of my 32. So, yeah, it's going to be cool. Could you bring a big show to Melbourne? Well, we're doing a show inside MotorEx. Right now, that's what we're doing in Melbourne. We might be bringing Drag Battle and GTR Challenge to Heathcote. There you go. Any chance, would be great to see you do the Stockholm drag race. It's money, man. Like, I had a blast year festival USA last year. When will tickets go on sale this year? Now, tickets are on sale. Early bird tickets. Actually, sorry. VIP tickets are on sale for the US right now. And let me just check. We can't use the ticketing system in the US until later. Let me tell you, let me just go there right now. Spectator tickets, USA. Yes, you can currently buy VIP pass and super seat passes and a spectator ticket for GTR Festival USA right now. So yes, early bird tickets are on sale till TX2K. So after TX2K, goes back to normal price. So if you're in the US, you want to get your tickets and save money, do it now. Roll racing, drag racing, show and shine, everything is open to enter for the US now, nice and early. I'm sure I can figure some incentive as well to enter early, but right now it's a discount. All right, what else we got? Opinion on R31s. I'd love an R31 GTSR. They're cool. I mean, some people love the old school boxy, right? Like R31s are cool, but just things develop and get better. Do I want an R31? I'm a GTR guy, so that I guess answers that question. Hypothetically, if you were to do another non-RB engine conversion on your 32 GTR, what engine and box would you choose? When I did VR38 on a Rubisu, it was still a Nissan engine and twin turbo and all-wheel drive and everything. So if I was going to engine swap a 32 GTR or a 33 or 34 Skyline, and I'm not allowed to use a VR38 this time, and obviously an RB, it has to be like some type of, I don't know, like a NASCAR V8 but all-wheel drive, naturally aspirated. That would be pretty hectic. Or it has to be a twin turbo V8 but using like a Nissan V8. That's your answer. An all-wheel drive twin turbo V8, which I know someone is building right now in a Silvia. So that's what I do. What's next? In your opinion, what would be a better street track race car? A PR16 R35 GTR or a Stage 3 TT Huracan Performante? Neither. Go down a notch. The better street track and race car, you've now included circuit, which means you need response. I think a PR12 R35 GTR is quite possibly the most perfect car. It is responsive enough to do circuit, and you can probably just like turn it down to 1,000, but the response is still there. There's nothing worse than having turbos that make 1,700 and then you turn them down and they're laggy junk, right? So if you want a circuit, drive around, go to the shops, have fun on the street, twisty roads, and run 8-second passes, a PR12 or the equivalent to that, which makes 1,300 horsepower at the rear hubs, is just freaking awesome. The end. I've said it in every video. Does that mean that I don't think a PR16 is awesome? No, they're sick as well. But man, a lot of people talk about it, but if you drive a 1,600 horsepower 35 or a 1,600 horsepower twin turbo V10, of which I've probably driven more than most people, except the guys that outside of the ones that build them, man, they melt your face and things go wrong real quick and you can kill yourself on the street. They're too fast for the street on full power. They really are. And people will argue that and go, toughen up, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to have a car you can enjoy on a mountain road in a circuit, PR12, perfect. Thoughts on Nissan-Honda partnership? Whatever it takes for Nissan not to die and to make another GTR, I don't give a shit how that happens. If Honda owns them, whatever, don't care. Whatever keeps them afloat. Right now, if they're broke and they can't do anything, that sucks. So whatever it takes to save them. If they have to buy out Renault for the merger to work or whatever's got to do, fine. As long as the Nissan badge still exists and someone helps make that. But man, someone's going to have to bail them out, and I can't afford to finish my No Secrets GTR. How am I going to afford to bail out Nissan? TT Lambo Assassin or Night Fury to GTR Fest Sydney? Yeah, both discussions have happened and have not finished happening. Tribute is oftentimes way better than the original. Correct. My Group A car is a tribute. It's called the Group A Experience, which means I just want to do passenger rides with it all day. I just want to take people for rides in it. It only needs to make 450 wheel horsepower and 85, have all the coolers, but it'll have a sequential in it, which makes it a bit more fun, better gear ratios, etc. And it won't be, to make an exact replica of a Group A car, I either ring Rick Wood and say, send me one of those, please, for 400 grand, or it's $1 million for Alan Heafy to build one. So no, I'm just going to build 2.6 twin low mount sequential. It's got good suspension. It's got wheels that look like a Group A car, but it's still 5-star. I can fix it with a lot of GTR stock stuff. It's the Group A experience. So did you see your future amongst Cletus McFarland? I was friends with Cletus before he had his own thing when he came over with 1320 and stuff. I've known Cletus for ages. We're just not on converging paths in any way. Not doing things with Cletus is certainly for neither of us anything personal in any way. I like Cletus. I'm sure we're still friends. But he's so busy now that being his friend is hard. If you're not in his inner circle with him all the time, it's hard to get any personal time with him as a friend. I can still say hi to him and go see him and blah, 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 whatever. But are we going to do anything together? I don't know. Maybe he might wake up one day and go, I'm going to build a GTR, come to GTR Festival, or he might not. But there are YouTubers that I'm good friends with that just, we don't have a converging path, and they're ones that we converge all the time. I see Larry Chen all the time. I see Mickey from Front all the time. I see Adam LZ all the time. I see Kyle from 1320s, that racing channel. Tommy F, Zach and Vin, ex-Hoonigan guys, obviously Hurt and T-Pain, Gary King from Hoonigan. I see these people all the time. They're good mates, and we cross paths all the time. So we are going to do a lot together. I'd like to meet Matt Armstrong, actually, to be honest with you. I haven't met Tavares yet. If he wants to build a GTR, let me know. Same with Matt Armstrong. Going to build a fast GTR, you let me know. I've met JP Performance. I'm friends with Mighty Car Mods. So it's sometimes you converge, sometimes you don't. Everyone always says, when are you doing something with Mighty Car Mods again? And I'm sure I will one day. So it's just how it is when you're busy and you're working on things. So I I hope you're doing well, mate. Any thoughts of events in Queensland, Willowbank? I'll be at Sydney. I should be at Queensland Jamboree. I want to go. It's just like at the moment, it looks like we're all good to go. I want to go. Every plan is to go. I don't want to say definite quite yet because there's some other things working in the background. So where are we? DR31s hold a special place in my heart. Oh, good. R32s hold the special one in mine. What else we got? Yeah, let's not discuss Heathcote. Man, I've heard rumors about every track, every event promoter, every workshop, every driver, every car in it, everything. Like everything. I'm friends with Lance, and he's looked after me whenever I've gone there and helped me out. He helped me run the 860 PB in my GTR, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, if the track's open and I can hire it to do those events and he lets me do what I need to do, that's how I see it, mate. So yeah. Someone says, what's in the stubby holder? Lemonade. It's Australia. You know that's not true. Is there a new issue of GTR Hub coming out this year? Yes, it's actually in production right now. I'll have it in my hands next week at some time. Someone said maybe try Western Sydney Airport before it opens. That'd be sick. No, but no. So, all right. What else has anyone got? Do we need to recover anything for you guys? Are you involved in Platinum Racing Products YouTube channel and the videos they make? Yes. Do you think drag racing has died from what it once was? Do you see it staying strong in the future or slowly dying off into the hobby of the past? Drag racing will never die. There's always going to be two people that want to race each other in a car. The end. I think that the moment drag racing started was when the second car on earth rolled off the production line. People were racing horses against each other before there was cars. They probably raced on foot before that. We will never stop drag racing, but it has to evolve to suit what people want. I've had this discussion before, and I'm going to say it here before we kind of wind this up. It's been an hour and a half. I had someone say at GTR Festival, how come they're not having bracket racing and eliminating and all this crap? I went, because no one wants to see it, mate. And they go, what do you mean? This isn't real drag racing. I go, why not? Well, this is just runs, and then the quickest one wins. I said, yep, because most of them are street cars built by a workshop to run a record. And this is what the crowd does. Coming up next is from Matux Racing, trying to beat this record is whatever, right? So he rolls out and everyone's like, what's the record for that category? This. Oh, everyone gets their phone out and goes, film the run. And then it's like, oh, he didn't get the record. Oh, yeah, he got the record. They're all hugging and cheering and everything. And it's a great highlight reel. Your memory only needs to last 30 seconds from you got told about it to the end of it and the cheering and everything. Now you can post it on Instagram. Phones are up nonstop for that stuff. But if you say that car that runs a bracket of 10-0 qualified in 7th place 4 days ago and he's now in round 5 of a Chicago, no one cares, bro. The races do, and there are people that do, and that's fine. But I'm talking about our audience. Our audience imports street cars. Roll racing is quick, like bang, 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 like it's fast action. It's no qualifying for 3 days. Like no one cares where you qualified 4 days ago. And that I don't like watching Dial Your Own, even though I understand the sport of it and doing it. It's like drag racing can be a sport that you enjoy doing. I have done Dial Your Own drag racing in Perth back in 2019 and made it to the finals in my MX-6 Turbo and lost to a car that ran 16.0 every pass, right? So that was frustrating. But on the flip side, I understand you need Dial Your Own so that people can have it as a sport. I think the traditional old school sport of drag racing has certainly declined in popularity. But look at what's coming up now. Street Outlaws, No Prep, GTR Festival. You know, like look at the guys from Street 20 we're doing. You got roll racing. Like there's still plenty going on with drag racing, bro. And there always will be. You find ways to have cool little shootouts, unique things. Like you just got to evolve and make cool things happen. So drag racing will never die because people will always want to race each other. So yeah, that's what I think. Just got my first AB26 for a 2630 build. Question is, would 272 drop-in cams be enough for 900 wheel horsepower roll racing build? Camshafts have a lot to do with what you've done with the rest of your head. If you're putting a stock 26 head onto an RB30 bottom end, capacity loves camshaft. So what works on the 2.6 and the 3.2, you need way bigger because you want it to flow. Now, if your head's stock, you are limited by lift, not duration. So my attitude is put the largest duration you can in with the lift that you can fit without machining the head. I don't know if anyone makes like a 280, like 10 mil lift or whatever. I don't know, but whatever the biggest duration you can get is on a 3 litre, yes. Yes, the answer is yes. Go for the biggest camshaft you can. If you're going to port it and go oversized valves, and I'll say this, everyone watching, here's the best piece of advice I have for cylinder heads, and 100 people are going to disagree with me for whatever reason they want. But this is me personally. You don't have to agree. If you don't agree, I don't care. But my philosophy with building an RB26 is this. With the head, you either go dead stock with just drop-in valve springs, like a single valve spring or a beehive or whatever, and a drop-in cam, like something that doesn't require any machine work at all. The moment it goes to a machine shop, don't piss fart around, go all in, like fully ported, 1 mil oversized valves, double valve springs, machine the head for bigger lift, and put the biggest camshaft you can in. The end. There are exceptions to this that I've worked with Rick Wood on, but as a general rule of thumb, and I've done this, I've had the whole stock bottom end and then the built with just valve springs and drop-in cams, and then I went and did the whole race ported head from CID with 280s in it and big lift and everything, blah, 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 big idle. And on a 2.6, I thought it was going to be a pig. Put it on, it was more responsive. It was bizarre. It worked so well. So yeah, that's my answer to that. Are you involved in the YouTube? Yeah. Do you think drag racing has died? I answered that one. Have you had the chance to drive a 8 HP swap GTR yet? No. God damn it. I want to drive one. I've driven a DCT R32. I want to drive an 8 HP. If anyone has an 8 HP GTR that I can drive in Sydney, let me know. And I'll do a feature on it because I really want to try it. We need one more Cooter event to say goodbye. Yeah, Con. You know the boys. If I say this is the last one, you know that every pass is this and potentially this. We know you never say one last. Come on, Con. But you're slightly right too. So yeah, it'd be sick. Con Pilly, by the way, is a long-time Cootamundra veteran and Tooks customer, and he's a champion, by the way. So that's why when I say about what's going to happen with the boys, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly what happened, isn't it, mate? I lost my spot here. No, where'd it go? They haven't gone blind. How cheap is the VR38 motors now? Cheap. Do not use the word cheap in VR38. I looked all around Australia for a complete VR38 from a wrecker. I found one, and he wanted $28,000 for it. You know what I said to that, right? I just walked out. A brand new block from Nissan's $12,000 trade price now. A brand new head's $3,000, and I need a head. I needed the girdle and the lower sump section. Some mates in the US from Original Auto have found me a bare block, one bare head, the girdle, and the lower sump section. And I think I'm paying about $5,000 US for that as a favor, plus freight. So VR38s are redonkulously expensive at the moment, and it makes me want to stab myself in the face with a fork. They'll triple the price of anything RB26. How cheap is so your time attacks are great to watch. I wonder how the rest of your audience feel. The time attack videos don't get big views, do they? I mean, they go all right, and I get a lot of fans around the world who are pretty hardcore fans and enjoy it. They don't get big views because they just don't. Like drag racing and tech videos get the views for our channel. So I'm going to do way more this year. I might even tell you guys what I've got planned again. Best low mount bolt-ons in your opinion? Don't know. Need to test a bunch. I had high flow dash 7s made them work really well, but since then, no one has really made a modern low mount. Are you listening, turbo people? They're all still based on old dash 5s and old technology with dash 5 wheels in them and billet wheels and all this sort of stuff. Someone needs to design a modern tech low mount twin turbo setup for GTR. Here's looking at you, everyone. Where in Perth did you grow up? What school? I went to Kent Street Senior High School. In high school, had an aviation scholarship. Graduated in 98. And I went to Queen's Park Primary, Rivervale Primary, before I went to Burrendar Primary in Willerton. Where did you guys name your city like it's a coochie? What? I don't know what that even means. Do you play any car games? I have a simulator out there that I maybe turn on once a month with that just has a Assetto Corsa competition on it and F1 22, and that's it. I haven't got time, man. I don't mind using the sim, but time. I'm in here at this exact desk trying to make videos for you guys. I lost our cameraman, and it doesn't work for us anymore at the moment. So I'm working till midnight every night making videos and trying to run events and make new things happen and all sorts of stuff. So yeah. What should I do to my RB26 head? Street car, 600 horsepower. Nothing. Cams, drop in Kelford cams and valve springs. That's it. How did the DCT feel in a GTR? It was a bit of an old school DCTR. It kept the flavor of an old school 32 by having a pretty jarring gear change. So I think it's one option to like a sequential to do what you want to do, but it still was pretty harsh. I want to try the other one. I want to try the auto. Was it worth a try? Cheap has nothing to do with Skylines, correct? Compa, we only go back for one more if they open the globe. Ha ha. Corey, you're right, mate. The Globe pub in Cootamundra was, yeah, man. Andrew, how are you? It was awesome to meet you in person last year. I still have one of the OG Ignition DVDs from back in the day. Sick. I still have my complete collection of Ignition DVD. If you had 10K to buy a project car and build over time, what would you choose? Over time means no longer a 10K budget, right? So if I have to buy it that doesn't run and it's 10 grand, it's going to be a Nissan something shell, Sylvia, Skyline, a shell that I can build later, or a GC8 WRX. I freaking love GC8 WRXs. Fight me if you don't agree. Someone said Queen's Park Primary House is spin out. Yeah. I went there like year 1 and year 3, man, before I went around the world when I was in year 2. I'm hoping to have my 8 HP swap time on GTR Festival. Sick. Let me know, Connor. I'd love to have a drive. Would it be worth doing some tech vids on Atessa mods, getting the most from the Atessa? That's a tough one, and not because I don't understand how it works or have played with it. The problem with that video is I like to have really good evidence of things. And what I mean by that is like, how do I have the variables in place or take away variables, I should say, so that we can test things in a way that kind of proves it. I could do a theory video on the Atessa, like one that's about the theory of it, of how it works and how an interceptor can modify, or how a Motec, Howtech, or an ETS Pro works to control it. And I could really only give my feedback of driving them afterwards. So, for example, I've driven GTRs with the ETS Pro in it. Some bits of it I liked and some bits I hated. I've driven with the Howtech in my GTR and was stunned at how good it was out of the box. I was sitting there worried I was going to have to muck with the Howtech four-wheel drive system in my GTR, and I pulled out and went 133 in the 60 and ran an 8, like first full pass. And on the street, I launched it and went, this is sick. Like, it just worked. Now, does it work for circuit? I don't know. I only tested it for drag. But I've driven like a car with a Motec in it for circuit, and it was magic, but I've driven another one that was junk. But it's just setup. So very hard to kind of make a tech video where I have heaps of proof in it, but could we do a theory one? I'll put that down on the list of like, okay, let's do one about the Atessa system in a GTR tech video. It'll be worth doing. Yep. So just bring Jimmy Broadbent and Super GT along with Misha to World Time Attack. Then you have views, Andrew, with Misha too. I mean, Misha doesn't do drag racing at GTR Festival, so I guess that would be tough. So yeah, I'm not sure. Super GT, those guys are for Time Attack. Full respect to them, but that's what they're for. Bring the high octane DVD guy on camera again someday. Tried, can't find him. Thoughts on the new RB26 billet head? Don't know. If it worked, it would be out there working. Is not an insult or in any way against it. If a RB26 billet block worked, why hasn't it happened yet? There's a lot of reasons why it doesn't work, and you need to overcome those. Will someone overcome them? Maybe. Or will the RB26 billet head just be something you only use in drag racing? But if Herman thought a billet 26 head was doable and easy, he would have done that instead of a cast one, mate. So it's got a lot to do with cooling galleries, distortion. See, long 6 cylinders distorting from end to end in expansion and stuff and twisting and everything over that distance. So the V6 billet motors don't really get that problem. Neither does the 4-cylinder. But the straight 6s, the billet block has expansion problems that had to be handled with like a tensioner that moves based on temperature and expansion, right? Like you have to assemble the engine at a certain temperature so that it works at that. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's just the reality of a billet block. So a billet head, there's other issues. So will they do one? Will it work? I don't want to. I'm just sitting here going, like maybe. I hope so. I'm not involved with the development, so I can't give you any insight into what they're doing to overcome the issues that I know exist with a billet head. So will it happen? Maybe. Man, seeing Jet Speed was so damn awesome, and I bought one of their Fast Fours mags from when Jetron was back then. Yeah, I know, it's sick. What happened to Cardo GTR? Nothing. He's still alive. He's my mate. He's got a snap-on truck. His GTR's being fixed right now. I know actually what went wrong with that car, and it's his place to say, not mine. But it ain't Croydon's fault. It ain't his fault. It ain't anybody's fault. It was just a piece of bad luck. I'll leave it at that. I'll let him explain what happened. But all is good. Everyone is all good. And the car will be good. Croydon and him are good. Me and him are good. Everything's good. Jet Under World Time Attack plans. Billet Block, baby. Billet Block. Bullet Race Engineering. Billet. Nitto 2.2 stroker. Bigger Kelford head package. Slightly larger Garrett turbo. And I want to make 900 horsepower at the hubs and fucking send that thing to the moon and get on the podium in the new rules for open class. Why aren't Tesla controllers more popular for rear-wheel drive? Fun. I'll answer that really quickly. They are popular for rear-wheel drive fun. But you just remember 33s and 34s, their four-wheel drive system has residual transfer case pressure. What does that mean? So in the 32 GTR, when you turn off the all-wheel drive system and get the all-wheel drive light on or the four-wheel drive light or whatever, you have proper rear-wheel drive and you can do it all day. 33 and 34, to make the four-wheel drive system react quicker, has residual pressure that remains in the line. So there's a tiny bit of drive to the front. Now, yes, you have watched people stupidly do on the brake burnouts, but while they're doing that, their transfer case is slipping and eating itself. Or you can do doughies in it, just don't do like on the brake burnout. But the ABS usually lets the wheels move anyway. But just remember, we dynoed Herman's car once and forgot to pull the front, or didn't have time to pull the front shaft out. I just jacked the front in the end and let the front spin. But you could see how much the front was spinning. After a while, it wore down some of that residual pressure and started doing it less and less. But that is why you don't see that. Now, if you can control that solenoid differently and get rid of it so there's no residual transfer case pressure, then you can have proper rear-wheel drive in a 33 and a 34. Do you have a budget-friendly camera in mind or someone wanting to do their own videography? Your phone. Phone can film way more than you think, but it depends. Are you going for cinematic stuff? Because cinematic stuff, the lens is everything, right? If you want to vlog, man, like Cletus and 1320, most of them use their phones. Like, learn on a phone. They've got stabilization, slow-mo, everything. Like, learn on your phone. Go from there. If you then want to get more cinematic, the lens is everything. So you need a good lens, like a prime lens that you can then use. Then you're going to need a camera body. So that's my advice, is get like a gimbal for your phone and learn the strategy of editing and cutting to music and knowing what shots to get and start like that. What happened to the Nitto 34? Nitto went under. Cars got sold. Cars are gone. I can tell you right now that the Nitto 34 does not exist anymore. It's not even yellow anymore. It's not my place to say who owns it or where it is or anything like that, but I will say this. The Nitto 34 that was built years ago, and I loved that thing. It was the first 1,000 mile GTR I ever drove. It doesn't exist as a yellow car anymore, so it's gone. The end. The Tooks are going to be testing full water billet RB26 head and running ready for testing in the next couple of weeks. That's what they posted, said before. Sick. Good. Like I said, I hope they overcome the issues associated with a billet head that has stopped it from happening before. And if they do, great. There's the more things that are happening in development, the better. Why didn't RX go to GTR Fest in the US? Ask him. The container was ready to go and everything was sorted. So it's up to him. I think there might have been a mechanical issue at roll racing or something. I don't know. No, Nitto wouldn't go under. Mercury Motorsport went under. I probably said that wrong. Mercury Motorsport that built Nitto doesn't exist anymore. The end. There's nothing to talk about other than that. So therefore the car went and it bounced around a couple of owners, and the car itself, like I said, is now a different color because the owner just said, I don't want someone else's reputation. I want to build my own car. Mate, I got no problem with Trent. I got along with him great. I know I've heard every story there is. What's next song you want to learn on guitar? Ooh, I want to play the Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem, on the start line at GTR Festival USA with my Stevie Ray Vaughan special edition guitar. Yep. I'll probably just learn another Metallica song next, I think. I don't know which one. I've seen you testing of different blocks, but I would love to see testing between different heads, like 20. Man, that's the problem with heads is, with the block, we're testing its strength. We're not testing, like, I guess, its ability to make power. Testing heads, we can just go put them all on a flow bench and test CFM, right? But how do you then go, how much better? Like, why would you put a 20 head on anything? Because the bore size is different. The 20 head goes on a 20 block. So whatever it does, it does. So now you're like, okay, so really all we need to compare is a 25 and a 26 head. Okay, well, if a 25 head flowed better, why do all the record-setting GTRs have 26s on them? The end. I wouldn't mind seeing some CFM data and etc., but obviously you've got to worry about like valve lift, camshafts, etc., stuff like that. So we have talked about it, yes. What wheel is that in the background? That right there, that is a R32 GTR Group A wheel from Gibson Motorsport, signed by Mark Scaife, Jim Richards, and Fred Gibson. That was a gift to me by someone, and Steve, thank you. That is like one of the coolest things I own, and I will never sell it. I will die with it. The end. That is cool. I also have a Nismo GT500 or JGTC or whatever it is wheel as well. That's cool. If you had to pick a hobby lifestyle apart from cars, what would it be? Planes and flying. Another stupid expensive hobby. If Gold GTR is going to have 8 HP swaps, so I've already answered. Potentially. If I drive an 8 HP GTR and I like it, I may do an 8 HP in the gold car, and everyone's going to go, auto, this, blah, blah, blah. But I want that car to be a genuine go to car meets car and drive around and enjoy it. And trust me, I've owned a Supra, and in sport mode, flicking gears, I didn't sit there going, geez, I wish I had a clutch. Like, I mean, when you got 800-900 horsepower, trust me, as long as it's got a good chassis and it handles good and you've got all that, it's mad. That's fair enough, and we'll see what happens once 100 MSI going through it. I don't know, man. Like I said, I've watched other people make billet heads, and if Matuk's testing one, then Matuk isn't going to go test one he thinks isn't going to work. He is way smarter than that. So if Matuk's testing one, there's a fair chance it's getting ready to be at that end. So let's see what happens. You do what everyone else does. Sure, you can try new stuff, but the chance of it working properly is low. Yes and no. I always say to people, like, when I tell people what works, it's not the only thing that works, right? But I do say to people, if you want to build a GTR that works, and I have a recipe that I tell you, it will work if you listen to that recipe. And I have 100 cars out there, probably more, that have reached out to me and said, I copied the formula at this point in your build, and I love the car. So for me, it's about giving knowledge that's like, it doesn't have to be the only correct knowledge. Other workshops can tell you that they don't agree with me or they do something, whatever, fine. But I can tell you that everything I show you guys, I prove it works, and that's the whole point, right? That's what we're trying to do here, is help you guys build your cars. What do you do with your old performance parts? I actually often sell them on Facebook Marketplace, or they get hand me down to other cars. Modern autos are so cool now. Yeah, they are. You can keep the clutch pedal. I hope so. What happened to C&V Performance GTR? I think John just kind of like retired the car for a while, just like concentrating on business, things like that. That arms race was getting pretty full on. So yeah, so that's all that is. I think the car's still around. So yeah, thoughts of drifting. Do you think it has potential to grow in Australia? Seems like it's been pretty stagnant for a while. And I ran a national drifts. I worked for Drift Australia in the heyday at the start. I was the host of the TV show. They sold it, and it just folded up. There was no national series. I started Australian Drifting Grand Prix with an investor. And if it was ever going to work, it was going to be then. And just, I've got stories to tell that just don't need to be public. And there's a reason why I've just never really bothered to try be involved in like national level drifting again. I enjoy drifting, doing it. I've got drifter mates, etc. I've got my theories on drifting. I think drifting as an exhibition sport inside other events is freaking awesome. Like when you see drifters in a supercar event or F1 or whatever, people run to the fence to watch it. But like freestyle motocross, like Nitro Circus is a cool show for 2 hours. But would you go and watch freestyle motocross for 10 hours? Would you watch? How do you know that the 85th backflip was better than the 87th one, right? I think that's how a lot of people see drifting. It's like cool to watch as an exhibition demo thing inside something else, but watching it like all day, I feel like drifting is still in Australia. The full-blown drifting stuff is kind of like drag racing, where it has its hardcore following and audience, but getting a mainstream crowd to put big viewership behind it, it's had its chance to work, and it's just the bickering and companies screwing each other over and drifters complaining or not wanting to spend money or whatever. But there's been plenty of good things happen as well. But man, I love drifting forever, and I'm going to buy another drift car. So I love it. I wish it would work. And would I get involved again? Maybe. I rocked up to Adam LZ World Tour with an 80GP jumper on. People freaked out and thought I was going to run a drift event again. I said, but right now I focus GTR Festival. And I want drifting to be a part of GTR Festival. So I do like drifting, and I love it being an entertainment element of that event. Even a comp maybe at some GTR Festival. Who knows? So yeah. The Orange Motor S13 made me love cars. That car was heat. Man, that car didn't miss a beat for ages. Pro GTRs, hello. Hey, mate, how are you? We will miss Cootamundra, yes. We'll be using any of the G Series 2 turbos on the new Billet 32 setup. Yes, I will. I'll be testing the new G45 direct bolt-in to replace my one and then probably go up a size from that again. And I may even test some twin high mounts on that car. Mate, it's Chris B. Bring the channel to Dubai. Check out the scene here. I want to get to Dubai, yes. When, I'm not sure, but I do want to get there. Is the Skyline GTR faster in the quarter mile when in rear-wheel drive mode? Is the Skyline / GTR faster in the quarter mile when in rear-wheel drive mode? No. Especially not in a street one. Full-blown drag one, the weight of the four-wheel drive system would probably negate the other benefits you have of setting up a two-wheel drive. The quickest Skyline in the world right now is a rear-wheel drive. It's IRS. It's a custom rear subframe, but it's IRS, and it's mental. It's like, mate, Asaf's car is hectic, bipolar. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's the quickest car in the world right now, and it's two-wheel drive. I will say this, at that level, two-wheel drive in some ways is easier to set up and make more consistent than all-wheel drive. Front wheels are in the air on the launch, right? And there's more weight associated with it and complexity. But like in a 9-second street car, all-wheel drive is king, the end. World Time to Drift event is amazing every year. Yes, but do you notice that? It's one a year where they bring drivers from all around the world. It's not a national series. Have you ever tried off-roading in a proper built car? No, I'd like to. I want to go jump sand dunes in the Middle East or something, and I want to drive a trophy truck. I want to try that stuff, man. I haven't done it. What happened to the cut-up Falcon? I sold it. Yeah, good point. I don't think we ever officially did a post on that. I sold it. Why? The only place I could drive it was Cootamundra. And now we're not even going to Cootamundra, so that's even worse. But before that, it was like I drove it once a year. At Summer Nats, we got permission to use it. We did everything we were told to do it, but we still got stopped every 3 meters by security and whatever. And I just got some other project cars, man. And just like I was leading up to USA GTR Festival, I needed the cash flow. It's simple as that. The guy bought it for the right money who was using it to swap into something else and understand the value of it and gave me good enough money for it. So I moved it. With motors and gearboxes getting bigger and bigger, what's the next point in the GTR platform that needs to evolve to keep up with rising power numbers? It will be a hybrid. Hopefully not all electric. Hopefully a hybrid. I don't have a problem with hybrids. You don't have to recharge them. The petrol can do its thing in a wall. I don't like the idea of just like electric only. Hybrids also have the ability that you can use a smaller, revier, less torquey motor with big turbos on it. And believe it or not, engines that don't make a heap of mid-range torque are actually usually more reliable because like torque breaks things, not power. Like I'll say that again. Torque breaks things, not power. Power is just the byproduct of the torque times the RPM. I mean, RPM can break if it's built wrong, but I mean, within the range of it. So when you have a hybrid and you can have torque feel, then you can now have you can have electric motors powering the front and like a twin turbo V6 high revving engine at the back. So you're kind of just using the electric motors for extra grip, if that makes sense, for a better launch or whatever. And yeah, so I don't know. I think hybrids can be sick. What happened to the car? Okay, in the RB26 block, maybe PRP, would you use a wide gen or Nido 2.8 or a 2.9 stroker kit, and why? Okay, if you use the PRP block, you can use a bigger bore, which means you can use a 2.8 stroker kit with an 89.5 mil bore or 90 mil bore potentially, and have a 3 liter. And capacity is king. Now you're asking yourself though, oh, but isn't that? Think about this, bore to stroke ratio. You're adding stroke with a stroker kit. Well, if you add bore to it, you're bringing the ratio back. You're increasing both. So your bore to stroke ratio improves. So with a PRP block where you can have a bigger bore, I would put a 2.8 wide journal in it. And so you've got the wide journal for the torque, and I'd increase the bore and have a 2.95 litre. Thoughts on the R35 with the V5 to V10? Hurry up and drive it, Loz, and do things with it because it's sick. Stop parking it and do stuff. Drift it. I want to see it in action. I am allowed to give crap to Loz. He's been one of my friends since like 2005. Have you had a go at drifting, not just doing a skid, but tandems? You ran the events, but can think of seeing you drive in. Yes. What did you drive? I had an S13 drift car. There is videos of me drifting it and demos on track tandems with people, the airport solo stuff. But have I entered a comp? Once, because I ran everything and was filming and everything, I did enter a comp at Oran Park and made it to top 4, I think, and lost to Luke Murphy, if I remember correctly. So yeah, am I a gun at tandem? Fuck no. I'm not anywhere near enough practice to be really, really good at tandem. But I have had a drift car and can drift a car. I'm not great, but I can slide a car around and not be embarrassing. Is there any H-pattern gearboxes for VR38 motors? The guys from, oh man, well, I've got a mental blank. in Tokyo Auto Salon, someone's done a jet drag or sequential conversion for a VR38 so that it has an R200 in the back, the full drive system from a 34 or 33 in it, and you can put an OS88 sequential PPG, whatever. You can put a 5-speed in if you want. Like you can put a Skyline GTR box behind it. There is a kit for it. And I did it in the 34. But you can't just get a H pattern for it because it's a transaxle in the back. So, yeah. The PRP block is low deck block, right? Do they plan on making a high deck block for the RD28 and RB30? At this point, no. If for anything up to, I'm going to say even 1200 horsepower. This is my opinion here, not Herman's. Anything up to 1200 horsepower, like RB30 is enough. So by going RB26 block, you don't have to space the subframe. You don't have to worry about the bonnet. You don't have to worry about redoing FAB. It's way easier. You can just go 2.95 or 3 litre and in you go. You don't have to do all the extra work. The problem is, though, is people that already have an RB30. Now, my current mindset is this. If you own an RB30 and 1200 is not enough, because I find that the cast block really over 1100 falls apart, which mine has now done. I'm now going billet. I believe you need billet RB30 over 1100 or go RD28, which could bring you up to more like 1300. Can they make more than that and live? Yeah, but it's lucky dip, mate. Mine didn't because it did heaps of work. I've seen Muns make 1600 cast and they're still going, right? I'm not saying they all break. What I am saying, though, is you're throwing the dice over 1100 horsepower. So get a billet block if you really want 1300 horsepower. You ain't street driving it every day and all that sort of stuff. So you might as well just go billet. But will they make a high deck cast block? Man, let them get the first one out first. Like, it's a huge investment from Herman. His guy's nearly sent himself broke, like with the amount of time and money that's gone into this to do cast blocks and cast heads. So, man, just support him and buy them. Don't sit there harassing him for a 30 block. Just get them done. So, big sand dune batching event in the UAE. Maybe GTR Festival combo could worked out. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But like I said, I do want to get over to Dubai or the Middle East or Abu Dhabi or whatever and check all that scene out. I will get there. When roll racing, are you allowed to modify or adjust suspension between races? I see some cars nearly lose control down the track under high boost, or it's easier just to turn the boost down. I don't know. Each car's different. My car goes dead straight. Mine's fine. But every now and then you hit a patch of something, uneven thing, a little bit too much torque, can move around heaps. It's not always suspension. I readjust my suspension to suit. I got mine pretty dialed in. So, like, that's just each car's different. Would you still take the current RB3032 over the PRP 3-litre if you were doing the build from scratch? Would you do the PRP block? Right this second, I want PRP block in the car if I could start from scratch. But at the moment, I'm building a billet 3.6. So would I rather a billet 3.6 or a PRP 3-litre? I think you know the answer in a car that I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. But if I was just trying to make a 700 or 800 horsepower fun street car, I'd put the PRP block in straight away because of that. And then from there, it's just like at the moment, like starting from scratch, the 30 versus the 3.2, I'd go the PRP 30 because the block's way stronger than an RB30 block that's going to fall apart. Herman's going to test that block to like 1600 horsepower. And based on everything in that block, it's going to do it. So the only reason to not use it is because you already have an RB30 and you want to go RB30 billet block because you want to push big power. But drivability is the only reason. Like if you want a 3.6 is the only reason, or 3.4 or whatever, I wouldn't. 3.2 not so much of a concern, to be honest, compared to the 3-litre. But yeah, if I was starting again and I was building like the ultimate 1200 horsepower GTR, I would use the PRP block with a Nitto 2.8 wide journal crank and a bigger bore to make it a 3-litre. That is exactly what I do. What else are you allowed to? Blah, 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 blah. Your favorite Japanese performance tuning shop and why? Garage Active Sakamoto-san, because he's a sick, you know what. I've partied with Sakamoto in Japan. I love that guy. And I actually was watching him race GTRs back in like the year 2000. And he's just an OG. And his sense of humor is Australian. Like, he's just the best dude. He was one of my favorite shops back then. Pretty much him and Smoky Nagata were like my two favorite GTR tuners. Not like, and then you've obviously got the parts companies, Grady HKS, etc. But in terms of tuners, Sakamoto and Garage Active and also Smoky Nagata have always been my favorite. But obviously, Sakamoto is now a good friend of mine. So, yeah. Do you think Turbo Smart's new lineup of turbos have a chance of taking on Garrett and Precision? Yeah, I do. Yeah. Turbo Smart is a fantastic company. I've worked with them since I got into Ignition DVD, sponsorship-wise. I've been working with them, product development, parts testing, promoting at my events, done tech videos for them. I know their engineers. Turbo Smart don't make junk, mate. They make the best stuff. So yeah, I 100% think that smart turbos are going to compete with everybody else. And sometimes you have to remember this. There are a lot of people that will buy Turbo Smart, not just because it's good, but they'll buy it because the attitude is, we're an Australian workshop and we've worked with Turbo Smart for 20 years. I've used their fuel pressure regulators, blow-off valves, and wastegates on my car pretty much exclusively for 20 years, almost exclusively for 20 years. Does that make me then want to use their turbos? Hell yeah, it does. But I also work with Garrett, and Precision come to our events as well. So it's a very delicate balancing act to make everybody happy. But yeah, definitely. If you're looking at a Turbo Smart product, some of the data I've seen is amazing. That's the problem now. There's a lot of good turbos. You can't sit there and say which one is the best, period. It just doesn't exist. Like, Garrett's an amazing product known for OEM reliability. The response levels and what they're doing now, what I've done with them is amazing. But look what Precision does. It's got the record for nearly everything. Turbo Smart's got a great product in the market. Zona Turbos, their custom stuff is epic, right? So like, you look at those three companies and you're like, that's just those three turbo brands are epic, right? So yeah, and they're the ones I've spent time with and met their engineers. This is not ones where I've just looked online. Like, I've spent time with all of those companies and have a lot of respect for all of them. So yeah. Is event planning and organization now your full-time gig, or is it still Jet Multimedia? How do you find trying the balance of the two? It's actually the balance of the three. Jet Multimedia is a video production company. Motive Video is a YouTube channel. And our event management side of our business is that. They all work together, right? And yeah, it is very difficult. I will say this, though. Jet Multimedia corporate work, which a lot of you guys wouldn't see. Like, I did the Born This Way campaign for Newline and done training videos and sales videos and all sorts of stuff. That stuff funded Motive Garage. YouTube didn't. YouTube pays peanuts. But now that we have support for, like, we had support from Sparesbox, Uniclutch, PRP, and now moving into this year, Garrett and Howtech financially to the channel, that helps support us to make content, because YouTube's lucky to make. You saw Boosted Boys' video, right? You know, it's like $3,000 a month average. Average, not always that. That's nothing. What does $3,000 buy you now? It doesn't even pay half the rent here. It won't even pay like my insurance bill for everything we do, right? So YouTube views, just pretty much, they pay nothing. They're like a little bonus at the end of the month to go, oh, sweet, you can go to dinner a couple of times, right? So everything else is what pays for it. But it's a balancing act between the three, and it's exhausting, tiring, but I love it. The end. Corporate. So basically, it was corporate work was here, right? Corporate work here, YouTube here. And I thought it was going to do this, right? Like, corporate work come down as YouTube came up. But then event management came in and kind of went, so... And I'm not saying it profits more, but god damn it, it turns over more and like has way more moving parts and way more to do. Event management's one of the most stressful jobs on the planet. And if it rains, I am far out. Broke. Hate bringing up money, but like, the reality is, if it's a 50% chance of rain, that is basically like walking in to play roulette and say, here, take my life savings and my mortgage and put it on black. The end. So if you ever want to do an event promoter a favor, I'm going to say this to you. I know you want to wait until the week of the event and see the weather forecast, but fuck, that stresses me out. If you get 2,000 tickets sold the night before the event, like, you go from heart attack to like, oh, thank God, like, we're all good. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's so stressful. I love the result of the events, the memories, the records, the great moments. I live for it. Live for a mad event with mad memories. But the stress of running events is terrifying. So yeah, the juggling act between them is constant, and it is hard to do some YouTube content knowing it's like, it's going to cost me like the equivalent of $5,000 to make this video to make back $300. However, you want to thank anyone? Thank Sparesbox. Sparesbox is the reason why we upped our content years ago and started doing way more stuff. Their financial contribution monthly was huge. And then Uniclutch and PRP started giving us monthly, and cars from Japan. So, and now Garrett and Howtech are coming on board, but other deals are changing with other people into different structures. So, like, these partners, without them, there's no content, mate. Like, that's the reality. So the more sponsor support we've had, the more content we can do. But also our content's based on what we do with the event as well. Corporate work right now is almost zero. Like, I don't look for corporate work anymore for Jet Multimedia, but if it comes along, Newline's one of our great customers. I've done stuff with Royal Purple and Toyo and all sorts of people. But if they come along and say, hey, I've got a corporate job for you, I want you to do, and it pays all right and it's worth doing, I'll do it. But now it's YouTube, events, and it's tough. Well, how much turbo's improved in the last 20 years? Oh, man, dude, turbos and E85 and ECUs are where all the development has happened in the last 20 years. Because they're like, honestly, now an intercooler now versus an intercooler in 2000, same. Even exhaust manifolds. Okay, Artec's done revolutionary things for better reliability and casting, but like even like camshafts, man, like the camshafts. I've used camshafts in a GTR that are the same as the 1999, right? So I don't think like the engine. I mean, little things in the engine have progressed, like billet materials and things like that. But the big progression in the way that they drive and the power they make is turbo technology, and E85 has changed everything. Apex turbos, I hope so, man. I know Shardy is Apex Australia. I hope we can see some good stuff here with that. So, is there a notable difference between a spaced down subframe and stock subframe in terms of steering feel and suspension? Yes. In an R32, there freaking definitely is. And you definitely can't lower the car as much as you can with a stock subframe. And I can tell you right now, I've driven my GTR where I've lowered the front a bit too much, and it is dog shit. And I hated it. So I put GK Tech roll center adjusters in it, which it has to have. And I put offset spacers for the tie rod ends to bring that down to reduce bump steer. Some people don't notice and don't care because they just go, and then they do a drag run, right? But for me, like in a car that you want to drive properly, definitely need to fix geometry if you put the subframe spacer in. Why do you want me to come work on No Secrets? When do you want me to come work on No Secrets? Now, actually, I need money for the parts. Do you know what new builds are coming out this year from us or other people? That's the question. We did a big thing at the start of this video about project cars. So if you can go back and watch that later. Cannot wait for R30 project. Is there a foreseeable time when you're starting it? Mate, I could be at TX2K, make a deal with someone, get it sorted real quick. I can't see that car getting started till after GTR Festival because of how many cars we're trying to build before then. Oil pumps or water pumps come a long way with RB motors nowadays. Have they? There's better material, yes. But like an oil pump's an oil pump. They're like Tomei and HKS made oil pumps in the 90s. They've come a long way, like, I guess, the materials, but the overall concept, not really. But turbos are very different. Drivability, you put a turbo from 2000 and a turbo from 2025, mate, not the same. Most underrated mod for an RB that most would overlook. I have a video that's literally like the top 10 best mods for a GTR. So I have that video. So go watch it. This is why we make tech videos. But the one thing everyone overlooks is the aluminium steering rack bush. Get rid of the rubber bush, put an aluminium one in there or billet or whatever. Huge modification. And the Jet-Trag 6-speed is my favorite mod ever, or put 411s. If you've got a 34 and you don't have 411s, you are ripping yourself off. Get this bit, rip it, make it a meme, whatever. If you own an R34 GTR and you have the standard diff gears in it and you haven't put 411s in it, you are ripping yourself off. What else? Relying on YouTube and events for income must feel like a fever dream. Prior to that, when did you know you could make the switch to working for yourself? I've did this story in a few podcasts, but I worked for Ignition DVD, and when they went under, I pretty much had no choice but to work for myself, and I knew I could. It was tough. It has been tough the whole time, and I've made a lot of mistakes and taken a long time to get somewhere in some things or whatever. And but it is what it is. Is Nissan still manufacturing parks like 26 blocks? No, they're not making blocks right now. That's why you can't buy new blocks, and HKS can't make crate motors, etc. So Nissan, please hurry up and make normal blocks again for normal people. Actually, you know what? No, don't buy a PRP block. I shouldn't have said that. Auto-style killer GTRs back in the day, amongst others. What was your favorite GTR from the 2000s? Dom's auto-style blue 34 GTR was awesome. Love the footage of HKS Japan, the 33 drag GTR. Out of all their cars, my favorite was FEB, the white 32, and Top Secret, No Secret car, the gold one. In fact, I loved that gold car when it came out. I'd say FEB, the white 32, and also because it came to Cootamundra, first one. Just tuning in for GTR Festival. Mate, if you're tuning in now and you want it, the first thing we spoke about was project cars and GTR Festival. We've been going for over 2 hours. I need to go to bed. So we're going to wind this up. So if any project car stuff and GTR Festival stuff and events we're going to be at, you can rewatch the podcast. You'll get all of the answers. The Spares Box Great Aussie Build-Off is a great series. Thank you. I actually really enjoyed that. I'd say ECU technology improvements are insane. Definitely updates on the cranked Motorsport 32. I don't know. Rob Abelina's not there anymore, so I got no idea what's going on. Unfortunately, I can't help you with that. I heard that the Auto Style 34 went back to midnight purple. If not, so it went back to stock. Now, the white car still exists somewhere. The yellow car ended up in Asia. Star 32 ended up getting redone with someone. The black 32 Flyby has been crashed. Daredevil is actually now Mark King's MK2 B2R car. How do I know all this? And I think that Chameleon GT spec ended up, and I've got no secrets. So there's a photo of all the auto style GTRs together somewhere. I've put that in the no secrets feature. It's such a trip out that I even own one of those. So I've read the stock GTR gearbox and the GTS4 box is the same except gearing and that they brake above 600 horsepower. I've seen GTR 5-speeds handle 1,000 and not brake. It's how you drive it and how you change gears. It's the most important thing. No, their diff ratios are different. So it's 4 3s in a GTS4, not 4 11s. So the box is not changed in ratios. It's that. Cheers from Germany. Hello. I'm hoping to make it to Germany this year. Favorite body kit from any GTR. I mean, I got to go with Garage Active, right? Garage Active 32 is my favorite. But I love the top secret bumpers on the 33 and the 34. Love them. Favorite. I love the TBK Auto Garage bonnet on mine. But overall kit, if it's not Garage Active, either the old school R33 Greddy Gracer kit that's on their blue car, the S-Rock is probably my favorite from back then, or a top secret kit. N1 oil pump plus gears and backing plate, or standard pump gears and backing plate, standard RB26 33GR looking for up to 500 horsepower. Mate, a standard long nose crank oil pump can handle 500 horsepower, no problem, based on how you drive it. If you'd like some security to it and a little bit of extra, if you're already pulling it apart, put a billet gear and a backing plate on it. Go for it. But here, I just will say this. We're going to do a video very soon called RB Oiling Problems, Understanding Them and Fixing Them. I will say this. If you are not changing the flow of the factory pump, all of the other mods that you need to do don't become as necessary. The moment you increase the flow of the pump, you need an aftermarket larger sump, head drain, oil restrictor to the head. You need all of those things and a big catch can. You need fucking baffles in the cam covers. Because of the flow of the pump, because it flows too much to the head and it can't get back quick enough. You've got big RPM and no throttle. It can't drain quick enough. As soon as you put the foot on the gas, bam, blows all out the rock covers. It's flow. So that's it. Plans to test the new PPG rear-wheel drive billet Sequential and Jet 200, possibly. PPG want me to test it? I'll test it. I've suggested it to him. We met at GTR Festival, waiting for the big reveal for 2026 in Europe. I hope so. What would you let Clay Wong drive your 32 GTR on a high boost with the new 3.6 litre? Fuck no. But he's not the only person I wouldn't let drive it. I probably wouldn't let anyone drive it. Would I let him drive it on a lower power setting? Maybe. But man, if you haven't driven 1,300 horsepower Skyline GTR street car with a sequential, if you haven't driven one and really understand it, or you own it to really get it, sorry, man, it's a handful. And mine's one of the better ones, goes straight. No, would I take him for driving it? Would I let him drive it on probably 1,000? Yeah, probably. Yeah, sure. I wonder what happened to FEB. It still exists. It's just in hiding for no reason. It's just in storage. Thoughts of the transfer case mod putting more plates in it? Yes and no. If it needs it, yes. But if you have too much front all the time, it does change the characteristics of the car. And by having more plates, often you end up with I guess the ratio of how much front drive you have changes. So as long as you can adjust the attester to suit, if you need it because it's slipping, that's a different scenario to needing it just for the hell of it. I don't believe you need it in most GTRs. It's more of a big GTR drag car thing. So you're saying you don't need oil restrictors with the standard oil pump. Well, you don't need it, no, because the blow-by problem isn't really... I had a standard bottom end with standard oil pump, standard everything, and all I had was restrictors and a catch can, and I didn't have any oiling problems with that car, really, because you have standard flow. As soon as you increase the flow, that's when you need everything. Do you know what new builds are coming out of this year from COD and Tooks and all those workshops? You'd be surprised how much they don't tell me, but I will say this. There is a GTR being unveiled at MotorEx. What it does after that, I'm not going to tell you till after MotorEx, but all I know is this. Fuck me, it is going to be one of the coolest unveils of a GTR ever, and it's going to change a lot of things in the GTR scene. It's just unreal. It's almost 4 a.m., but I'm sending it. Yep, stupid question. Have you found what the best diff to use for best diff oil to use for R200? Well, I use mechanical centers, so I just use a 75 140 or an 80 140 diff oil. What brand? I use Nylon synthetic. I've used Nismo. Nismo is really good. I've used Motul for it, which is really good as well. They're 75 140. So all three are good. Go for it. I've even used the Pennzoil 75 140 as well. I mean, a synthetic 75 140 high quality race fluid is what you want. So, what happened to Trent with Nido Yellow GTR? Mercury Motorsport no longer exists, and the car got sold. The end. And the car is not yellow anymore. Was Jerry's Daredevil the old Dexter? No. Actually, was it? I can't remember. One more CUDA, mate. Whatever happened to Nismo Oil is Motul? Yes. Any feedback on P front diff versus Quafe? I haven't tested both back to back, but they're both good. So I don't really have like a one or the other for you. But I will say this: Quafe have never sponsored me, and they've never supported anything we've done, and I don't work with them. That doesn't mean their product's no good. It just means I think you should support the people that support our community. So PRP and PPG support the GTR community and the racing community. So that's what you should buy. And the report so far on those has been great. So yes, that's one I got. All right. So anyone that wants to know more about project cars, go back to the start of this afterwards. You can see all the updates on what's going on with project cars. I go through all the events that we're going to be at this year. I talked about Cootamundra, talked about what's the changes to roll racing at GTR Festival. I talked about the changes to like the test day roll racing, the guests that are coming, New Zealand, potential overseas events, talk about heaps of stuff. So there's heaps to go back and watch if you've missed it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this live Q&A. We may start doing a GTR podcast, but it's time at the moment. Tech video wise, I've got a Why is my RB misfiring video coming up. I'm also doing a oiling system explained and how to fix it video that's a lot more in depth than the previous one to replace that. We may do a Tesla Tech video by the sounds of it. I want to do how to choose the right turbo, sizing, tough video to do, even talk about engine setups, whatever tech videos we can do. It's all based around what are the most common questions people ask online. And that's what we're trying to answer. That's the purpose of some of these tech videos is so when someone asks a question, you can just go, bam, here it is. Someone says, would you do a garage active body kit in your GTR? The biggest problem with doing a carbon fiber garage active kit on my car would be if it gets defected, it will never be legal ever again in Australia. So that's one problem with that. A blended fiberglass and carbon version of it, maybe. But at the moment, it's like it has the drag wheel and tire set up and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how it would then go having 13-inch wide wheels for drag, like blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's a maybe. It's a maybe. And I do want to build a garage active car one day. And me and Sakamoto have come up with a couple of ideas. And I said to him, I hope one day, as a dream, is I want to send you a rickety piece of shit one, do the active kit, and then I want to fly in and I want to build a car at Garage Active using only the stuff that he has there. So all just with him. Will it happen one day? No, but it won't be a cheap build when you start putting HKS crate motors in and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, we'll see. Would you make a Sylvia festival? Well, we have Nismo festival / Nismo meet inside GTR Festival. So I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If 300 Sylvias turn up to GTR Festival this year, I'll run a separate Sylvia festival. How does that sound? So if you guys put your money where your mouth is, get that on forums, get it everywhere. If you get 300 Sylvias to GTR Festival as part of the Nismo meet, I will hold a Sylvia festival, probably at Sydney Motorsport Park that has cruising, circuit, the lot. But I need proof that people will go. There you go. Thank you for doing this. No problem. Would you agree that the scene is currently too focused on performance and not enough on restoration parts? That's coming. The restoration side is coming, but I don't want it to be revolved around just restoration. But I want people to be able to revive their GTRs and new seals and things like that. It's coming. If you come to Germany, Berlin, please tell me Skyline GTRs get done in a very small shop. Yep, I'll have a look. What's your take on Penrite? Never used it. Haven't worked with them. Don't have an opinion. 33 model car is that a model that after your project car? No, not really. I just kind of bought that as inspiration, I guess. It's a top secret GTR. It's not the same as mine, but whatever. That's just a bit of inspiration. What else I got? Got GTR stuff here. I got a gift from HKS. Got HKS thingy. I got a couple of Garage Active model cars. It's gifts from Sakamoto. Got that one. I bought the other one though. What have I got over here? Check it out. Signed by Sakamoto. I got that. That's pretty cool. What can't you see on this side? Oh, check this out. It's something random as hell. Nob Taniguchi bobblehead from 1 of 1,000 units. I got this in 2006, and it's signed by Nob Taniguchi when he got the lap record in the HKS CT230R Evo at Buttonwillow Raceway in the USA. I got a photo of sitting in that car, which is mad. So yeah, that's pretty cool. What else is over here? Gift from my friends at HKS. Got this sort of stuff, and I've got check this out. Top secret. Got another top secret gold 33. I have a top secret car signed by Smokey Nagata that I got back in 06 when I was there. I went for a ride. This is something really cool. That's Shane Van Gisbergen's Trackhouse Racing car that he debuted at the Chicago Street Round that's been autographed by Shane. The reason I have that is very random. Zach from Hoonigan, here's a funny story, or fun story. Zach from Hoonigan reached out and said the guys from Trackhouse are getting Shane Van Gisbergen to drive. I found that out early and said they want some videos done. I actually initially got the job. And then I was asked to make the highlight video that released like the announcement for Shane Van Gisbergen. So I actually made that first highlight video that showed like his history. I got footage from supercars. I had some footage of him drifting, blah, blah, blah. And I made the first highlight video of announcing, Trackhouse announcing. They then asked me to say, can you go to Tassie, film him and do this other stuff? But this is not in any way a dig or anything, but essentially just politics kicked in and Red Bull basically said, no, if you want any videos made of Giz leading up to him going there, our team does it. So I lost the job. But it's still pretty cool to work with a NASCAR team. I work with Trackhouse to make a video. Does it lead to anything in the future? Who cares? It was a cool experience. I got paid to make that video, got shown all over the US, and I've got that Trackhouse car. So yeah, Jet Multimedia work. Cool, huh? Any more Japan tuning shop videos coming up? No, but there is some stuff from Nico Circuit, some other stuff. Can I drive Jet 500? Car doesn't exist. Sick Collectibles, thank you. UK GTR Festival, working on it. What's happening? Project No Secrets. Go back and watch the start of the video, please. Hope so, because starting the bridge by far my favorite things to do. Any collaboration with Zen Garage? Yeah, maybe. I know Justin Fox could be. Tuning on aftermarket G sensors? Yes and no. If you've got to know, really got to know what you're doing. Thanks for doing this. Thank you. No problem. Would you someone argue that the scene is currently focused? No, that we've talked about that one. What else we got? Other Skylines that may as well not exist. Outside of Skyline GTRs and Nissan, which car do you admire the most? I've got a couple of Lambo models here. I love Silvias. I'm a massive Silvia fan, and my Silvia means more to me than just about anything. I've had it since 2003. I think it's the quickest, like, actual S chassis in the world because it still uses factory subframes, that sort of stuff. I actually know a lot more about Silvias than people think. Love Silvias. Outside of that, I love the new Supra. Loved it. I thought that is an underrated car. If you don't think it's better than the Z or you don't think it's good, fight me. It's an awesome car. What else do I really like? I'd love an FDRX7 with a quad rotor NA in it with a sequential. I love a GC8 two-door version 5 STI. Like, dream. Mighty Car Mods have got one. I'll just WRC blue. I'd love it. Dream build. Carbon fiber, 22B, wide-bodied GC8 two-door with a sequential plated diffs cage and then running a like 9,500 RPM 2-liter engine, like an EJ207 in it, maybe a 2.2 stroker. Sick. Like, I'd love that car. That would be excellent. Anyone else about Project Cars or GTR Festival, please go back. What about non-GTR Festival like GTSTs and GTRs? GTR has already been incorporated. Guys, if 1,000 Nissans turn up to GTR Festival and go, we want a Nismo Festival for everything but GTR, sure. But I need to know it will work. Have you made any Honda content? Yeah, we've featured Hondas before plenty of times. Have you done any with Noriega before? I actually bumped into Alexi at Nico Circuit. Haven't done any content with him yet. I wasn't really doing content that day. But yeah, I think I wouldn't mind like go to Japan, get some drifting pointers from him in Japan and have a thrash over there. The new Super is definitely better than the new Z. It's such a deployment crew. What happened to PJ with his crazy S13? It's coming back. Don't you worry. It's getting there. New Super and new Z, which would you pick? We've already made a video of that. We already know what my pick is. How excited Toyota Supra is going to be racing on supercars with Toyota V8? To be honest, don't care. The problem is they're building a car that's completely unrelatable to the road car in any way. And usually this whole corporate advertising partnership stuff is exactly that. And I have no problem with that. That's totally fine. But for me, if they're not going to make the Supra anymore, by the time it races, it's like... But at the flip side, having another manufacturer involved in supercars and keeping the sport going, fantastic. That's not true. GTSTs and GTT are sick. I've got a GTST because I couldn't afford a GR. They are sick. I actually want to build a GTST. Super Star, love your ignition. Thank you. Would you drive MCM 240Z with the RB? Yep. Max power and pump gas for a street car. Yeah, pump gas sucks, man. E85 changed everything. Like I don't think I'd go past like 400 kilowatts or say 600 horsepower on a GTR and pump gas at the tire, like on our hub dyno. Just yeah, what is No Secrets that appeared on a Top Gear Australia episode once? Yes, it was. It was actually that car. All right, guys. Like I said, go back, watch the start. You see everything about what events we're going to be at. We'll be at MotorEx, the Mini GTR Festival. Tuned this weekend. Hot Import Nights next weekend. We're going to be at Goodwood. We're going to be at Jamboree. We're going to Darwin, SEMA, Ars Meeting, GTR Festival, Nismo Festival, PRI. Yeah, it's jam-packed. But right now, get your early bird tickets for GTR Festival USA. And if you want to support event promoters not getting more grey hairs, buy your tickets for GTR Festival in Australia now. GTR Festival in New Zealand is happening. We're joining forces with the Tsar to do a joint event and help grow that in New Zealand. I'm bringing some guests to that, and that will be the official announcement will be next week, but you guys are getting to hear it now. So thanks, guys, for lots of interaction. 2.5 hours is a lot to talk about. It's a massive podcast for one person. So, yeah, a lot to go through, some cool side stories. So we may do a GTR podcast, but we'll get another one of these videos probably when I'm back from the US at the end of March is when we'll do the next one of these, or potentially the next trip overseas at the start of April, one or the other. But stay tuned. A lot happening. The more you support, the more you share videos, the more you join the membership monthly or donate or whatever, the more we can make. But a couple of tech videos coming in the next 2 weeks, more Cuda content coming next week, and a bunch of cars being built to unveil at GTR Festival, which is cool. So, yeah. Thanks very much for joining in, guys. You guys will make this all work, and I'll see you soon.